I need that sports encyclopedia. Where you at, Steve Kim? Got Trent in the cut. Yeah. Where you at, man? In the gym shooting, I'm Durant. You ain't shooting John Moran.
Darnell is the Ball State legend. I'm the Warren Central High School legend.
I'm proving with a reliable source, straight from the mouth of the horse. Smitty and JB and Smitty from West Coast to Yost.
I love talking ball. It's nice to connect with guys that are like-minded and just are real and genuine.
Better stay in your lane. How did
you are fucking insane. Dude, what? You just will not give this guy his flowers. What is up? What is wrong with you?
Oh, you must have thought I was a bitch.
I am him. You's not it. What's the topic? With your logic when I flow. Big Komodo, how it's talking.
You gotta get back to letting the baby cry a little bit to see if they can soothe themselves.
That's a bar.
Issues get pressed so fast, it don't get sacked like bags and baggage. Smitty and Jason Brown, killed it, yeah, it's a rap. We what the game's been missing, we switched it and filled the gap.
I identified him after his third fight, and I said that guy should be a star.
I'm so proud of the show, bro.
The gap, Smitty and Jason Brown.
Coach JB show.
What up? We are in the building, and it is a loaded lineup today. It is Doc Talk Tuesday. Dr. Jesse Morse joins us once again on Tuesdays with Steve Kim, and it's T-Rich Tuesday. Trent Richardson, Alabama legend, is back starting today. And we got the new cameras in here. This is what the studio's going to have, so stay tuned. We got that focused up, bomb clarity. Look at this. Pretty ass bitch right here. Woo! Wait till the studio. And can't wait to dive in. Pound that like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the like button today on the realest show on planet Earth. We got a loaded lineup today. It is Talk That Talk Tuesday, brought to you by Prize Picks, BetOnline, and winnable.com/slap-picks. Head on over there today and get the first down package. Now, let's dive into this thing last night. Each and every one of you owe Kirk Herbstreit an apology today for all that Florida State slander last December when Kirk came on this show and the playoff teams were selected and the world went after Kirk Herbstreit. Florida State went out and got DJ at quarterback, and it has bit them in the ass. They worked all off season to prove everyone wrong as to why they were snubbed last year. Yet it was all for naught, as they have started 0-2 to start the 24 campaign, proving once again how this game is not about mercenaries and quick fixes. Yet it's about culture, discipline, structure, and buy-in. There is no more blue bloods. There are no more real powerhouses in football, due to the landscape of the current structure dictated by the NCAA, the non-caring assholes of America. This is bad football, as I've been saying, but what do I know? I'm not sure we will ever see it fixed again. Can't put the paste back in the tube. It is far too gone. Let's dive into this one. Florida State gets dominated by Boston College at home. The Niners and Trent Williams are finalizing an adjusted contract as Trent Williams flies back to Frisco and turns that big plane around and went right back after he was saying, I might hold out a few games. And week 1 against the Jets, it's up in the air, but it looks like the Niners are trying to figure this all out. Jason Whitlock says that if Mahomes wins a third straight Super Bowl, 4th overall, he would enter Tom Brady discussion. And I said, stop, Jason. And I had to call him personally after I retweeted it. Todd Bowles refers to the Commanders as the Redskins in a press conference, and social media has lost their minds once again as Amazon is releasing a documentary of the evolution of the black quarterback featuring Mike Vick. But before we begin on this loaded Tuesday with Steve Kim, Dr. Jesse Morse, and T-Rich, Trent Richardson, Alabama legend, my lovely co-host, self-esteem, Naptown legend, Far East Sider, 317, LeBron Hairline having, Lamar Jackson loving, AR5 defending, Caitlin Clark jocking, Fox Sports' very own, Big Smitty. Welcome him in.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? I'm wearing this hat all week long. I'm letting you know that right now because it's week 1 of NFL season, and my Indianapolis Colts and AR5 is about to shock the world. What's going on, JB?
Camp, your camera's horrible.
My camera look good on my end.
Yeah, probably because my shit's so legit.
Your camera look amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Your camera looks phenomenal.
It's our camera.
Our camera, excuse me, looks phenomenal. Like you look like I give to brothers. I give back to brothers. Like ours. I treated it as ours. That's what I do. I help brothers my whole life, but I'm racist. So you sound like the Clippers' old owner. What's his name? He said, I feed them, I clothe them, what you don't ever say that again. I get back to brothers. Don't say that ever again, JB.
I clothe y'all.
What's his name, y'all? The little documentary came out. Donald Sterling. Yeah, he's like Donald Sterling right now. Don't I feed them? Don't I clothe them? Just don't bring them to my games. Don't bring Magic Johnson to my games.
That motherfucker said them, though. I clothe them, house them. Hey, I'm trying to figure it out. So these cameras will be in our studio.
Right.
So that's like, one here and 3 at the studio. So we're going to have that action cracking. These are auto focus too. See how it's blurry behind me, but it looks legit. If I back up, that motherfucker clearer. It's crazy. These auto zooms are crazy. They might shut off though. I had to pay the bill, but they might shut off during the show. So if they do, you got to
can't be choosers, JB. Let's embrace it now.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. But it's cool. That's cool. We got a loaded lineup today. Doc Talk Tuesdays is back. Dr. Jesse Morse will be joining us on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Woo!
Because that's the 2 biggest injury days during the football season, both college and pro. So he'll catch us Thursday night game. He'll catch us Friday after that game. And then he'll catch us throughout the week. And then Tuesday is when the NFL releases. Just giving you guys an update. Tuesdays in the NFL releases the injury reports and the PUP list for the week.
Right.
And he's going to bring that right to us before any other show on planet Earth. He'll give us the injury report for your favorite team out there. So if you're a fan of any of those teams, pound that like, subscribe, become a member because he'll give you the updates on every single one of your favorite teams. So,
and JB, not to cut you off, but speaking of Doc, because I don't know if you scrolled down and looked, I heard he was here a little early today, and we know that Doc has a busy schedule and he has to go do some surgery. So I say, you know what, let's switch it around a little bit, JB, and let's bring Doc in right now, and let's get straight to it. What's going on, Doc?
We missed Doc. Look at Doc. Woo!
He's still clean, though. Some things change. One thing will never change is Dr. Jesse Morse will come here fitted every single day. How you doing?
Hey,
We're
Bailey,
doing great. How are you guys?
That graphic, Bailey.
Good,
Dr.
good.
Jesse Morse, he got a new graphic out. So make sure you guys follow him right here at Sports Medicine Physician. Doc, break this down real quick. You got some new things going on social media. I want to make sure we get this out here to the masses today.
Yeah. So people that are wondering, the middle line is actually where I do my business. So that's where I'm at right now. And that's where actually I do work. I don't just sit at home all day. And then the third one is my injury company that I discuss all these injuries and whatnot. I had to close down the Fantasy Doctors, but we reopened newer doors, changed up the signs, and made it prettier and stronger. And it's called the Injury Experts with a Z.
Nice.
Love it,
nice.
man.
Hey, Z, I hope it ain't for that like fucking Gen Z shit, right?
No, that's because that's a very popular name, and it's a little hard to get S when it's already taken. And I didn't feel like spending $1 million to get the S, so I figured I'd swing it to a Z.
There you go.
Hey,
real hustler right there, JB.
Yeah,
he's a cold hustler.
Maybe you can learn something. So, Doc, you here for Tuesdays, Fridays during the year because those are the 2 injury days you discussed. Me and you discussed. What are you? nothing's really going on yet, so we just wanted to get you in and introduce you to the new fan base and all that. Well, there might be a few things you want to discuss, but once the season gets going, so break it down. Tuesdays is when the PUP and the list will be coming out for the NFL, and then Friday is probably an update, and then after the Thursday night games, right?
You have games. This week's different, but you normally have games on Sunday, Monday, and then Thursday. So the Thursday night game is always a short game. It's a short week almost always for the people. Monday is a little chaotic still. We know about some of the injuries, but we got to wait for the dust to settle. Tuesday is when the teams actually release their injury report. I'm usually up to date on most of them, but sometimes there's people that they get added or we don't know exactly how it's going to play out. So a lot of the news will continue through Monday, and then Tuesday morning the kind of dust settles and you'll kind of get an idea of what's going on for that week. Friday, you really have a good idea of who's going to play on Sunday and who's not. If you haven't, on Thursday, there's still some moving parts, but on Friday, if you haven't practiced, a couple days in a row, if there's still an injury lingering, they usually are quick to knock them out. Very rarely do they go into Saturday for NFL without knowing if they're going to play. Obviously, Mondays are a little delayed, but in general, most of the teams that play on Sunday will know by Friday. So the Tuesday is going to be for the relatively new stuff, and the Friday will be kind of anything new that pops up, plus all the other stuff that's kind of lingering.
Got you. Well, that's good to know, man. Well, listen, I want to get straight to a few names that comes to my mind. I know the season hasn't started yet, but we already had some injuries just during camp and in the preseason. Yeah. I want to start here just in LA with the quarterbacks, Justin Herbert. What's the latest on Justin Herbert? I mean, how long are we expecting him to be out? Is he going to be out? Is he playing? What's the latest?
So the good news is that both big name LA guys, both CMC and Herbert, will be LA, but Cali will be good to go week one. Herbert suffered likely a partial tear of his plantar fascia, which is basically where your heel attaches to the toes. Very painful injury. He was put in a boot for a couple of weeks, started to ramp back up. This could bother him throughout the season, but he'll be good to go week one. Not overly concerning. It is his rear foot, his passing foot. He is a relatively mobile guy, so maybe it does bother him a little bit. If this was just a mild plantar fasciitis, I don't think they would have booted him to that extent. So I think it was a little bit more than that. If it's a partial tear, think of a 1 inch wide, and now you partially tore it, so you still have half pulling the whole thing. This is the ligament that holds up your arch. So this is your arch. And it's very painful. Most people that have this, if you've ever had this, it usually feels like you're standing on nails or walking on glass. Like it's really awful, usually getting out of bed or getting off a chair or seated for a long period of time. And it's because that plantar fascia is not kind of flexed and not relaxed. Some people will develop even a bone spur there as a result of the instability of that ligament. But my guess is they probably put either stem cells or PRP and put them in a boot, shut them down for a couple of weeks, and then kind of ramp them back up. And I think he'll be fine. But he might have a little bit of mobility issues throughout the season, and this won't be the last time we hear of it.
Gotcha. Hey, Doc, I know we're going to beat a dead horse here because we bring this up. We brought it up all last year. These injuries, to me, are at an all-time rate. We got these guys wearing helmet condoms or whatever we want to call them at practice. I think the Colts, ironically enough, our self-esteemed co-host here, Colts will be the first guy to wear it in a regular game. I think it's a tight end.
Kylan Granson.
Yeah, he's going to wear one. You should be ashamed of yourself as a Colts fan, Smitty. But anyway, where are you at with this? Like, is there any new, data that's come out in the last year that proves JB wrong? And, what is going on? More injuries than ever, and we practice less than ever. I don't understand.
Yes, there are more injuries than ever, and a lot of it, some of it's turf, some of it is scheduling, some of it is just the lack of ramp up, some of it's these guys holding out, some of it these guys are bigger, faster, stronger, but the tendons don't get that way. And then, but the other part of it, specifically for the condom caps or whatever you want to call them, there is data to support they do decrease the risk of concussion. I know they look a little funny. I think I seen Jonathan Taylor wearing one in the preseason. Yeah, they look a little funny, but if you can prevent a concussion and or brain injury long term, probably not the worst trade-off. I think eventually they'll get them to the point where you really won't even notice that they're wearing them. Like they won't be as visual. We'll probably they did clear them to actually participate in games with them, from what I understand. So therefore, we might actually see them on the field. But in general, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's a good trend, especially for influencing youth, because if we can see the young kids wearing them, see the high school kids wearing them, then then maybe it was worth it in general. But if you can prevent a concussion, which some people it doesn't hit them too bad, and some people they're never really the same, then I think it's a good idea. You can replace your knee, you can't replace your brain.
Let me ask you this, Doc. One of my good friends, he's a very well-off individual that started the helmet condom business. He comes on the show here and there. A guy named Mike Jules. He's actually started this business and sold it to the NFL. He sold it to a lot of colleges, a lot of NFL teams use his stuff. He has a skelly pad that goes under the pad. He has he developed a product that's been around for a while now, and he was kind of the first guy to do it. He came on and was kind of different. He was opposite of you. He was like, it's really just a optical illusion. He said that for the youth to wear it, he doesn't like it all because it weighs their neck down. It teaches them bad habits on how to tackle, which will cause further neck injuries. And then in the adult side of it, he was saying the data is really kind of like skewed because we don't hit enough with them. So you don't really know what it really can do. It's similar to a car accident or a car helmet that goes underneath the race car drivers' helmets. And that's the material that's in it. And he's like, we really don't know because we're not banging them out there like that. It's really just a optical illusion. What would you say to that? Like, have you seen the data on this?
From what they release, and you have to just assume that it's legitimate, obviously, because I didn't do the studies. But I think there is some truth to the fact that they still need to educate. They still need to make sure they're not spearing. They still need to make sure, yes, they are heavier. They should logically be heavier than a regular helmet. So obviously that may play a little bit of a role in neck instability or just weighing down some additional ligaments in the neck that maybe at that age can handle it. I think that most guys are not leading with their head or shouldn't be leading with their head anymore. So I don't think they should test it. But even if you look at it from a lineman perspective, there's a lot of those mini collisions that do cause what we call subconcussive blows, which over time will cause issues. I have a colleague that's working on a stem cell IV cocktail that has the potential to treat or significantly improve not only concussions, but also CTE or the early stages of CTE. So I think that'll be pretty interesting to see over the next couple of years how that plays out. So this is a vicious game. Most of these guys are retired by their 30s, as you can see, and they have a whole life ahead of them. So we're trying to prevent some of these long-term ramifications. And if it ends up being a little bit of an extra foam on the outside of a helmet, I don't think it's the worst idea. The cards will fall where they may, and if it ends up being beneficial, great. If it's not, then it'll just be another thing that comes and goes.
Right, but to your point, Doc, though, it's like it doesn't hurt to try it. You know what I'm saying? Worst case scenario, it doesn't work. Okay, you're in the same spot you were in before.
They did it they've done it for a couple of years in preseason. So it's not like this is the first year. Like I think this is the third or fourth year. And I'm assuming they accumulated enough data to say, yes, this is helping in some respects. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out this year. But again, I think it's low cost. I think it's a potentially high reward for a big injury that it can be life changing, unfortunately.
Yeah. Hey, Doc, anyone before you get out of here on this first day back, I appreciate you doing this. We're going to blow this thing up. What's your takeaway so far? I know there's a few guys that are a few names that may be out for the year already. Is there anyone that stands out? Anyone that stands out that's out for the season, unfortunately?
So there's a couple guys that Elijah Mitchell sounds like he needs a new hamstring repair. So he's out for the 49ers. We had a couple other kind of lesser guys, a kid for the wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. I can't think of his name right now. He ended up, I think, dislocating his knee. So ended his season and preseason.
Rondell Moore.
Yeah, Moore. Yes, it was. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I think there's a couple other guys that were kind of deeper, like Jelani Woods, who ended up needing a turf toe surgery maybe back in December, which is pretty much the whole season. And then there's a couple guys that were put on PUP as expected. Hawkinson, Chubb, Jonathan Brooks. We've seen
What's my guy
Mitchell,
for the Bills, the linebacker, the leader. He's out till damn near December.
Milano.
Yeah, Matt Milano, I believe.
Yeah.
He got a reoccurring every year, it seems like, for him.
Yeah, he's had a rough couple of years. And then we've had a couple guys that are banged up but should make it. I mean, Hollywood Brown had that SC, which is this joint right here, dislocation, and he's going to miss week 1. That's been confirmed. He might miss week 2. We'll see. Either way, it would be interesting to see how they stretch the field with him and Worthy and Rice and Kelsey and Pacheco and Perrine. So this might be their best offense in a long time.
Hey Doc, where are you at with? So we had a horrific injury on this show last year with Nick Chubb. He goes and does this miraculous squat, 400 pounds, right after surgery, and everyone thinks it's and then they kind of set him back. Where are you at with him? And do you know what's going on with Nick Chubb as far as?
So from what I've heard, they haven't really released a whole lot of specifics. He did have a significant ACL tear. What we call a 2-stage revision, which basically means they do 2 different surgeries about 6 weeks apart. Dr. Boos, the Browns team doc, did it. And he had to have an MCL reconstruction, which is that ligament on the inside of the knee. Then they waited about 6 to 8 weeks, and then they reconstructed his ACL. This is, he can squat that heavy because the ACL isn't super important in that motion, but expecting him to run, 15, 18, 20 miles an hour and cut on a dime, and then, shifting that weight back to the other side, that's what the ACL is really needed for. So that's why he's not ready yet. That was in October, November, by the time the second surgery comes around. This is a 12 to 15 month surgery. Realistically, I didn't expect him to be ready week 1. Jerome Ford will take over that. Donta Foreman with his rib injury will probably contribute a little bit. But realistically, Chubb may be back week 5 to 10, depending on if he has any setbacks. And I don't know if we'll ever see the same back we saw a couple of years ago. He's had a couple significant injuries. He's 29 now. He's going to take time to trust this knee. He's a genetic freak, so I wouldn't put it past him. But this is a tough injury to come back from. And realistically, he doesn't catch the ball a whole lot. So he's going to be on, 2 downs maybe? So, you're getting 12, maybe 15 touches a game. They'll probably ramp him up slowly. So I think realistically, we don't see what we have in him until week 10 or something like that. So it's kind of a while from now.
Yeah, they got the Jerome Ford kid there, so I think they're good in the running back spot. But yeah,
he's good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Smitty.
I got a unique angle real quick before you go. So as we know, Friday the Eagles are playing in Brazil. I know there's been a lot of talk around that game and players not really wanting to go out there. But I got a unique question for you. Like when it comes to that long travel, what are some of the things that I guess from a medical standpoint that kind of could concern you or should you be worried about? Is it you hear about guys being swelling up, being on plane rides too long, things like that, dehydration. Are there any elevated risks from having that long travel time and then having to play a game?
Definitely. I mean, thankfully this is the first game of the year, so they're not really banged up, or at least the least banged up they're going to be.
Yeah.
You start talking about the Germany games and the London games and Mexico City or wherever they're going, that's in the middle of the season, so it kind of throws them off even more. That takes out 12, 24, 36 hours of rehab time. You can't do that rehab on the plane, at least not to the same extent. You have the immobility, which some guys can increase the risk of blood clots, which is a separate monster. And some of the guys, they end up swelling. They end up just because they're immobilized or relatively immobilized for 5, 6, 10 hours, not including getting there, getting on the plane, getting off the plane, getting to the hotel. It's a pain. I understand what the NFL's trying to do, but from a player perspective, it's just like a pain. It's just got to be a headache.
Hey Doc, can they do Russell Wilson and high knee in the fucking airplane?
I think they should do it in a circle, for real. Just one by one, just in intervals.
Hey,
Russ was on to something. See, we were talking about him.
Hey, watching Sierra videos. Let me ask you this: Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers. Your expectations before you get out of here of those two fully recovered, a non-factor? Is it all mental block for them? Where you at with those two high-profile quarterbacks?
So I'm not overly worried about Rodgers. I think it's a little ironic that they put him on Monday night again. First week, it's like deja vu. I hope not against 49ers. But I'm not overly worried about Rodgers because it was his front leg. He's had, I wouldn't say a year, but pretty much a year. And you know, he looks good. I'm not overly worried. He's got tons of weapons. He already knew the offense. Like, he already has the arm strength, and like, he's fine. Cousins is a little bit of a different story. Cousins is rear leg. Obviously had to learn a new offense. That's not a big deal. But he had less time to recover. I'm not overly worried. He might have a little issues trying to squeezing the ball into little spots or kind of pushing off that rear leg a little bit better than Rodgers, who is front leg. So I don't think it'll be a big deal for either, as opposed to someone like J.K. Dobbins, who's coming back from the same injury, but in a running back, completely different monster. I'm not super concerned, but I think it'll take a little time to get that rust off, just given the nature of their position, and obviously neither of them played in the preseason. So you're week one, go time. Let's shake the cobwebs off and go time. But both of them have, you know, some elite receivers to throw to, elite running backs to throw to. You know, Kyle Pitts could break out this year. I think this may be Cousins' most, you know, potent team. Obviously, he had Jefferson now, but previously, but he's got a lot more weapons now, or really talented guys. So it'll be interesting to see if this injury really affects him. He was an Ironman, so wasn't Rodgers before that. So that tells you how fluky these are. Rodgers hadn't missed a game in like 6 or 7 years when he broke his collarbone. Yeah. And then Cousins had never missed a game when he was as a starter, since all the way back in Redskins time. Like, it's a long time. So freak injuries, unfortunately, both in the same season, which is kind of weird, but I'm excited to see what they can do and develop some new data, you know, for this injury. Hopefully it doesn't happen again in general, but at least going forward.
Hey, Doc, sorry, Smitty. Let me ask you something, Doc, real quick. So Friday, hopefully we're not on here talking about all the injuries that occurred Thursday night, but it's going to happen. Some injuries are going to happen. What's your concern, and tell the fans and the crowd out here that here's my issue. Trent Williams is on a way back to Frisco, maybe signing a contract extension as we speak. But how active do you believe he's been? And what happens when these guys sign these big contracts who are kind of sulking or sucking their teeth and mad at the organization, and they come back lackluster and they tear a groin or a hip or some soft tissue because they're out of shape? How often does this happen? And is that a concern for organizations? Because I don't know if I'd be paying these guys unless I knew they were in tip-top shape, ready to go mentally as a professional.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question they had. The question with, you know, Ayuk. We had the question with still Jamar Chase. You know, we had the question with Williams now. There's several guys that were delayed, and most of these guys should be pushing it every day. Whether or not we happen to see them with their teams is a different story. CeeDee Lamb was doing it down here in Miami with one of my buddies. He was pushing it every day, several hours a day. But I'm assuming all of them are doing that. I just happen to know that Lamb was. These guys are pros. They're commanding top dollar, literally way top dollar. But there is an increased risk of soft tissue injury over the first 6 weeks for regular players, you know, without any delay. So I always just kind of get a little worried because it takes time to get everything going. And if you really have been going through the motions with the rest of your team for 3-4 weeks, like everyone else has, it may delay you and you may see a little lull for the first month. Trent Williams is a little bit of a different story. He's been doing it for a long time, so I'm assuming he should be good. He's pushing hard. He just hasn't been doing it on the field, holding out. I just wish these things could have get done earlier. I think this is stubbornness on both the player and the organization, however you want to call it.
Hey, would you recommend like PRPs and stuff like that while these guys are going through contract negotiations? Would you do some sort of like oil change on these guys during?
So I do. I have my fair share of pros. I usually do them more March, April, May. I don't use a whole lot of PRP for these guys because it's really inflammatory and there's better, stronger stuff that's not as painful and you can recover much quicker. But you can. Most of these guys don't want to. I had a guy in last week who's active, and he doesn't want anything. He's like, it'll take me a couple of weeks to get ready, and I don't have that luxury. So a lot of guys, unless they're really hurting, they try to avoid it after they've ramped up. Unless they just can't go, and then they don't have a choice and they have to do something. But they prefer to do it kind of when they're in their lull before OTAs or just after OTAs, depending on where they're at. And then they can ramp up and kind of go through it, because it takes time for that tissue to improve, takes time for things to heal. And you can't the tissue just doesn't turn on a switch like you'd like it to.
Last two things for me. I know you got to go. Number one is AR5, Anthony Richardson. Is he good to go with the shoulder? Number one. And then number two, who's your fantasy pick of the year? We got a lot of fantasy football players in here, big time fans. Obviously, it's wrapping up this week. Who's like just as the season starts, that one guy you feel like everybody, if you got the option to, you should have on your squad?
Good question. So I'll talk about AR first. So AR scares the hell out of me. Super talented. He just plays really aggressively and almost like a bull in a china shop, kind of like Pacheco. But I'm not worried about his shoulder per se. I do have some concerns about accuracy. I think that's probably valid. And it would be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't think you can take the running away from him. That's just who he is. But I think he hopefully should be smarter this year. But I'm not overly worried about his shoulder. It's repaired now. It's good. And it wasn't labrum, so we're good. But I do have some overall concerns for his makeup, just how he plays the game, which is nice and, kind of hold your breath after every play type of thing. In terms of my favorite players, I have a bunch this year that I'm really high on. I think Jaden Daniels could really, really surprise. If those legs work like we think they do, and him and F1 end up linking up regularly, it could be a nice combo. I like Rashee Rice. I don't think he'll have any issues with suspension this year, so I think he's going to just start week one and roll. I think Devonta Smith with Kellen Moore addition is going to be scary. If Jalen Waddle can stay healthy, he could be a top 10 or maybe top 5 guy again. I think Breece Hall is ready to take on that next level. Kyle Pitts, as I mentioned earlier, could be ready. Dolchik, I'd love to see if he can do anything. I like Dortch up in Arizona, kind of a deep sleeper, but I think he has a lot of potential. And then there's some guys that are kind of risky. You have Cooper Kupp, you have Devon Achane, who could go either way. He could run for 4 touchdowns, or he could injure his knee in the first quarter. You have that polarity. And the same thing with Cooper Kupp. Is he going to be like he was 2-3 years ago, or is he going to be like he was last year? So a lot of questions. I'm looking forward to seeing how it shakes out.
Hey Doc, as you exit today, any college guys injuries of major proportion of anyone that's known to the national audience as far as injuries go? Do you know?
I haven't seen any. I watched a couple games this past week or so, but I didn't see anything major that people put me on to. I heard FSU is struggling. I live next to UM, so I can tell you they won. They really won.
A lot of people may want DJ to be injured. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, and then we saw some blowouts. We saw some interesting comments about Clemson, if you know what I'm talking about. And we'll see. I'm excited to see how this season plays out. But it'll be another fun year.
Hey man, we can't thank you enough. It's excited to see you back. We'll kill it this year. I'll see you Friday. Hopefully no injuries after that Ravens game, but we'll see. Good luck today. Enjoy. I'll see you later on.
Have a good one.
Take care, guys.
All right, Doc. Make sure you head on over there to right here, Dr. Jesse Morse, sports medicine physician, and right there, CEO, the Injury Experts with a Z. Follow him today on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Smitty, let's get to the show now.
Let's do it.
That's how loaded this show is every single morning, because you guys, you're not ready for this show.
Straight just entertainment. Like JB, fans gotta really tune in at 6 a.m. Usually in the past, maybe you wait the first 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Yeah, you gotta come straight to it now.
Yeah, especially my camera's super clear. Yours is kind of shitty, but they get to see at least half of us are legit. Let's get to this thing, man. Right out the gate. This show is brought to you by betonline.ag, and it is quote of the day time. Brought to you by BetOnline. Head on over to betonline.ag. Use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, and get you 50% off plus welcome bonus. Let's start this thing off with a bang, Smitty. I don't know where you are, but I don't think you're ready for this because it's my own quote. Quote of the day. Keep going. Your future self is begging you to stick this shit out.
Ooh.
You don't even know. You don't even know what it means. You cats can't even comprehend that quote.
It's powerful. Listen, you said keep going now.
Yeah.
Because future JB, future Darnell, future Bailey, who in the chat, future Gene, future Ron, future Michael Armstrong is begging you to stick this thing out. Stick this shit out. I like that, JB.
Shit out.
Yeah, shit. I'm sorry. We got to cut some of the show.
Say it again.
It's begging you to stick this shit out.
I got to get you to cuss a little more. More.
I'm trying to cuss a little less. He's crazy.
I know it's crazy, but you don't really cuss at all, though. That's what's crazy. Contrary to belief, brought to you by Prize Picks. Head on over to Prize Picks. Use the promo code CoachJB and get you $100 free buy-in right now on prizepicks.com. Contrary to belief, you can't treat people like a paper plate if you want to be treated like fine china.
You in your bag now. This the JB that I know.
Contrary to belief.
This man slept well last night. He slept good last night. He slept good.
You say it over now.
Pull it back up. So I can see it. You can't treat people like a paper plate if you want to be treated like fine china. Make it make sense, homie. Make it make sense.
Your internet cut out, so we only got half of it, but we got it.
You can't treat people like a paper plate if you want to be treated like fine china.
Contrary.
Make it make sense, homie.
Contrary to belief.
Contrary to belief.
Shit. That's what I'm talking about. Woo.
You tired now?
Woo. That Ric Flair shit. I think that woo is one of the
most legendary.
Worst. I can't stand that motherfucker. I can't stand that woo shit. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. That's overhyped. That
Ric
shit.
Flair is a legend, bro. Gator wearing, jury watch slinging.
I never was a wrestling guy. Never was a wrestling cat. Never really was. Hey, poll question. Let's dive right into the show before we take a break here in the first 20 minutes because we started this show off with a bang. We got T. Rich joining us in 20 minutes. Alabama legend. We ain't seen T. Rich on the show in a while. He coaching now. Interesting story what's going on with that high school right there because his head coach got let go if you haven't heard national news. Well, we got firsthand T. Rich on the show who's coaching right there at Hoover where the incident happened. Plus, Steve Kim joins us with some fire. We're going to pick our top 5, top of the world, bottom of the barrel college performances. And he has an interesting 5 top performances and 5 bottom performers after last night, especially as we're going to dive into this thumbnail. But the poll question, Smitty, was Florida State a fluke last year? And was Kirk Herbstreit right the whole time?
Ooh-wee. I'm going to say no, they were not a fluke last year. This is a new team. You got a new quarterback. Jordan Travis ain't walking out on that field or running out on that field no more. You got your boy DJU out there. It's a different team. So 2 things can be true. I say that all the time. Last year wasn't a fluke, but this year they're definitely overrated. We can see that in the first 2 weeks. We had them ranked as a top 10 team in the country based upon the recruits they have and the 4 and 5 stars they got on that roster. But as we're seeing, man, to lose the first 2 weeks, who was against Georgia Tech and now Boston College? Now, listen, credit to Boston College, though, man. They went out there, they played well. Maybe they are better than what we gave them credit for. But regardless, to go out there and lose 28-13 and to look the way you look, because I watched the entirety of the game, it looked pathetic, man. Offense couldn't get no juice going. Defense, to me, isn't as bad as we think. But as a former defensive player as myself, when your offense is constantly getting 3 and outs, interception, 3 and out, at some point, man, naturally you lose faith in the offense. You lose a little bit of that juice. Even when you're not trying to, just subconsciously, you lose a little bit of that fire and desire to go out there and bust your ass because you lose all hope that your offense is going to go out there and put points on the board. I don't know what the solution is. It's not I know this though, JB. I can't put the blame on head coach Mike Norvell because I was thinking through like, what's the problem? And I'm like, I looked at the last kind of few years, really his tenure at Florida State, and literally up until this season, JB, he has improved this thing every single year, all the way up to last year where they went undefeated up until the bowl game. So this guy is a good coach. He's a leader of men. He knows how to galvanize the troops and put together talent. But something is missing this particular season. I know DJU is part of the problem, but he's not all of the problem, JB. But that's where I'm starting off at right now, JB. Last year wasn't a fluke, but right now, man, they're definitely overrated based upon where they're at right now.
Let me give guys out there let me give you guys some context on the realest show on planet Earth. So let's go back, rewind to November 25th, 2022. Okay. They beat Florida in a barn burner, 45-38. That gave him a bowl game in the Pop-Tarts Bowl against Oklahoma. They beat Oklahoma 35-32. 4 days after Christmas, December 29th, 2022. What that did was catapult this team into September 3rd, 2023, a year ago today. Today's September 3rd, Smitty. How ironic. A year ago today, they beat LSU 45-24 to start the season. Now, why am I saying that? Because I just told you. The 2022 year ended on a bang. They beat Florida, crosstown rival. They beat Oklahoma in a bowl game. They start the season off beating another SEC opponent in LSU, similar to what SC just did on Sunday night. Go back and fast forward to this year. 2023, Smitty, what happened last year as they got demoted and didn't get into the playoffs? They get a bowl game against Georgia and get smacked up 66-3 and 63-3 on. So basically December 29th, 22, they beat Oklahoma. They're on a high going into 23 season. And then last year, 23, they don't get a bowl game. They sulk, they suck their teeth, and they get smoked by Georgia 63-3. Half their team didn't play. All those excuses, blah, blah, blah. And this year it starts off with what? Losing to Georgia Tech to start the season versus beating LSU last year. Now, they just lose to Boston College and really got dominated. They almost had 300 yards rushing against them last night. And now Norvell has to go play his former team where he was the head coach, Memphis, which will not be easy because of the psyche of this game and all the hoopla surrounding him formerly coaching at Memphis. So, and is this Florida State team completely checked out? And that's where I see a very, very daunting task as a head coach, because this is now night and day, total opposite of the year ending in 22 to catapult 23 and how it ended in 23 catapulting to 24. This is why this game is just not for the weak and the weary anymore. This is not what it used to be. This is a mercenary business with lack of discipline, structure, and I just don't see how you can get the pace back in the tube, Smitty. I don't see it. I don't know. I hate to be the negative Nancy and all that, but it's true, man. It's hard to watch. I talked to Tank Johnson yesterday for a while on the phone, and he agreed. It's like, product is just not the same, man. It's not the same. He just sees something different, and he's like, I don't want to be negative. I don't know what it is, but there's something definitely missing, and I don't know how we get it back. There is no more dominant team year in, year out. It's all new players, all new schemes, all new discipline, all new philosophy. I just can't coach you every semester, Smitty. I can't ingrain a culture I can't give you the Ball State culture every semester to new kids who just left Akron. Like, does that make sense? They just came from another structure and culture. Like, how do I train that every semester and expect me to really be successful? I just don't see it. I think we've set up these kids, these coaches, and the game for failure. Personal.
No, it's definitely tough, man. And like I said, obviously I haven't coached the game, so I couldn't imagine being in that position in today's era and trying to ingrain that culture and that belief and trying to be hard nosed and try to be tough with also the fear of knowing that players could just leave off one wrong comment or one thing you say that they don't like. It's tough to do. And to your point, because it is a mercenary business, every season is its own entity. It's not like, like previous years where like if a team was dominant in 2023 and they're bringing back 16, seniors or whatever, they're going to be dominant again the next year. It's like, no, every year you got to just kind of wait and see. You don't really know what's going to happen. Now you have your outliers. Georgia seems to still be dominant. Bama, at least right now, still seems to be one, pretty dominant at the top. Texas, you still have some teams, in my opinion, that are still dominant like that and still seem to be building upon their culture. But all in all, man, it's not like that everywhere. And what's the solution? Like you said, I don't think there is one. I think the only solution is just figuring out how to succeed in this era. And if I had the answer, I'd probably be a rich man. But again, some teams are doing it, so it is possible. So you just got to figure it out. Again, Mike Norvell is the head guy, so he has to take some blame, of course, because there were some undisciplined plays in these first two games. I saw that offensive lineman got a horrible, stupid penalty. It's about to be a 4th and short, 4th and 5 in the fourth quarter.
The other kid flopped.
Other kid 100% flopped, 100%. But two things can be true. He flopped, but he flopped because there was some action. The guy did mush him or whatever, and he shouldn't have. You got to understand the situation. It's about to be a 4th and short. You guys need to go for it to try to get this game under wraps. And then you get a penalty. It goes to 4th and 20, I believe. Now you punt it. The game's over. You know what I'm saying? So just little things like that where it's like, it's bad enough that your offense isn't flowing. You're not putting up points. And then you're just icing on the cake when you're going out there getting stupid penalties. And to your point, JB, going into this Memphis game, not only is it added pressure on Norvell, but just the team spirit. I'm just wondering how they're feeling. You come to the season feeling good. Everybody feeling great. You got 4-star and 5-stars around you, ranked top 10 in the nation. You're thinking about national title hopes, and it's a 12-team playoff. But now it's like, what's the energy? What's the conversation in the locker room? I guarantee you it's a lot of finger pointing, behind the scenes. Guys over there like, man, look at DJ.
Here's my issue, though, too. The undisciplined act by that lineman is because it's a mercenary business. And these are kids that have no buy-in and no fucking investment in that program. They've been there for 90 days, maybe. Like, let's just be honest. That's what you're going to have, more and more and more. It's been that way for the last 4 years since I've been talking about it. It's getting worse and worse. I don't have an investment in this place. I came here for money. I transferred because I'm fucking soft, and I got yelled at. So I'm at my 3rd school, and I don't have an investment. I'm going to fucking do me. I'm a shitbird. And so, boom, I throw a fucking guy down. That is what you see more and more and more, and I don't understand why y'all don't see it. Like, I don't understand how you don't get this. Like, this is what it is. It's a bad look for the whole game in totality. Here's my issue with Jay Norvell. He came out and said, I didn't prepare my team. Mike Norvell. I didn't prepare my team. That's an excuse that's just really, to be honest, listen, I never said that. I said it's on me, though. I'll take the blame as the head coach. That's what you're supposed to do. Leader of men, you're a leader, create more leaders, not more followers. So I'm going to take the blame as the head coach. But it was never I didn't prepare my team, because that tells me that you're doing something else then. Like, there is nothing else to do making 10, 11 million a year.
But to prepare them, right.
even with me making, let's just say $100,000 a year. But just remember, I made $3,200 a year for many, many years coaching high school football in the state of California. And they never lacked preparedness. I was always going to be prepared. That is my job. I'm fully invested in it. I don't understand how this is an excuse now. I've seen it 2 times in 48 hours, Smitty. I've seen it from Brian Kelly, who makes fucking $10 million a year. And I just saw it from Mike Norvell, who makes $11 million a year. And I'm trying to figure out, what the fuck else are you doing? Fishing? What are you doing to lack preparedness? These are your kids who you apparently gave money to, and you've spent 30, 40, 50 in USC's and spent $60 million. $60 million on them. So what else do you have to do? And it's a fucking weak excuse. And I like Mike. I've known Mike a long time. I think it's a weak excuse. Come out and just say, I own this thing. Our team isn't ready. We lack something, whether it's the QB mistake I made as a head coach or it's something else in the seasoning that I fucking sprinkled over these guys over the last 10 months.
But isn't that to defend Coach Mike? Isn't that what he's saying though? Like I get right now we're kind of talking semantics and how to say something and versus I get all that, but I watched a part of that post game interview as well, and he said I think he specifically said after that it's on to me. I remember hearing that last night. So
he said it's on me, but he said I did not prepare our team.
But to me that's he's just like saying that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like that. He's trying to just own it. Like, do we really think he's been bullshitting all week? Nah, he's been on their ass. I'm sure all week long.
I'm not questioning. Like, I don't think he's out fucking at the carnival, right? I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, President Biden in the political world is taking heat right now. They put out a thing that he's always on vacation, right? That's the narrative. He's always on vacation. He's the leader of the free world. What's the difference in a cat that is making this much money? And everyone's going to now question his job and authority as a head coach of a program making 10, 11 million a year as to what else are you doing? Why aren't your guys prepared? Like, there's nothing else to say. Like, if you're going to question one POTUS of another, he's basically the POTUS of his organization at Florida State. Why can't we question that? I'm just saying, I don't think it's an excuse. I think it's an excuse. I think put it on me, like he said, to sum it up, should have been his only take. It shouldn't have been, I didn't prepare our guys. Then what did you do? Like, what have you done? Like, I don't understand. My guys weren't prepared. That's just, to me, is like, I would come in and say, look, because I used to go to the team, Smitty. I used to tell Malik or whoever, hey, motherfucker, look at the film. Everything's open. So I called the right goddamn play. Why he didn't throw it? Why he didn't hit him? I could hit the fucking ball. I could throw a hitch right now and complete this ball. Have you seen on Netflix? That's my point to the team, right? Hey, dog, we called the shit. You motherfuckers got to execute. At the end of the day, you motherfuckers got to execute. But in the presser, I'll say, you know what? It's on me. I'm the head coach. Now, I wasn't going to say, though, my team wasn't prepared because on the film, they were fucking prepared. Last night, if you watched the game, you got horrible fits in the run game. I mean, I watched a defense who their coordinator makes a lot of money, Smitty.
Yeah.
He makes more than a lot of FBS head coaches as a D coordinator at Florida State. Why are you so ungap sound? Why do I have the 5 technique spiking in B gap and the Will Backer in B gap as well? And they go get, and then the running back bounces A gap and bounces the bitch outside and hits the edge. Why do I have 2 B gap fitters at Florida State, homie, where my DC's making $1 million plus? That, to me, that makes no sense. Listen, you can get out athleted, right? In the North Dakota State instance, or an Idaho instance, or a App State beating Michigan though back in 2006 to start this whole trend off is like no excuse. Michigan was better athletically. Michigan has higher paid coaches. Michigan has coaches coming from the NFL. There's no excuse. Florida State had no excuse last night as to why they could not beat first-year head coach Bill O'Brien in a rebuild situation. That's okay? True. There's no excuses, dog. Like, and there's no reason to say my guys weren't prepared. That's my only take. I'm not trying to say he's a bad coach, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. No, I got you.
He's turned this program around. This is just me, dog. My opinion don't mean shit to a lot of you fucking nobodies in the chat that know everything. Nobody in the chat that knows everything. Make that make sense. But anyway, let me ask you, I would have just said it's on me and let's get back on the team. And then I'll go show the film to the team and say, hey, this is what it is. But this team just started with Bill O'Brien. There was no excuses there.
None at all.
Why did he come out and say, you know what, we ran for 300 yards, but my guys just weren't prepared? Like, I don't understand. Like, this guy's rebuilding a program that the guy just left there to go be a DC in the NFL 6 months ago. This guy's Bill O'Brien's been in Boston College 6 months, but nobody wants to bring up the fact that this guy's been there 4 years now, entering 4 years, and made a horrible transfer portal free agent signing in DJ, who looks like he's just a fish or a deer in headlights, fish out of water, whatever you want to call it. Love the family to death. But since the Notre Dame game as a freshman,
Talk about it.
For Trevor Lawrence, when there was no pressure on him as a freshman, he breaks the Clemson record, 442 yards as a freshman, because there's no pressure on him whatsoever. He wasn't supposed to win. But guess what? They lost that game, if you recall.
They did.
Trevor Lawrence comes back to play Notre Dame a second time in the same season in a bowl game. Didn't have the 400-yard game, but they won. That's a telltale sign as to what he may lack, and that may be the it factor, which is the most fucking scientific fact that you have to have at quarterback. It's scientific, Smitty, at this point.
The hypothesis of this evaluation is
the it factor. The it factor.
That's real.
But let me pay some homage real quick to Hafley or whatever his name was, the Hafner or whatever the guy's name was that left Boston College, the head coach who went to go be a DC or whatever for the Packers. He must have left Bill O'Brien pretty fucking good roster, homie.
Hey.
Nobody wants to talk about what he left at Boston College, because remember, Boston College should have beat Florida State last year.
Yep, they played them tough last year. I remember that game.
So he left this guy pretty good roster.
Quarterback, they got multiple guys. I think they had 3 or 4 guys who all rushed over like 70+ yards. I mean, they played physical. The line looked more aggressive. They played hard. They run to the ball. That's a good point. That's what I said earlier in my take. I said maybe we're not giving Boston College enough credit. Like, we're going so hard at Florida State as we should, but maybe Boston College is better than what we're giving them credit for as well. You know, and it's early in the season, so we don't know. But later on, we might look back at this time in like week 9, like, you know what? It makes sense why Boston College won that game and beat their ass, because they're actually a legit team. So
yeah,
we'll see though, man. We'll see, JB. But I do know we got a quick little commercial break.
Before we go to commercial real quick, I want to say something. The college coaches that are hiring NFL DCs, be careful, because your ass is getting lit up in college. Y'all are getting fucking lit up. Because in the NFL, you don't know how to defend a running quarterback, and you don't know how to defend double and triple option. And it's showing. You NFL DCs think you're all high and mighty coming in here and telling these guys, you got C gap, you got B gap, you got D gap. That's it. No fucking ifs and buts about it. It's NFL. It's not NFL, homie. These are kids who see ball, hit ball. So when the ball comes down B gap, they fucking crash B gap, even though you told them they have C gap. And it's fucking 17, 18, 19-year-olds who think they're worth this money. They're not, but you're telling them you're thinking they're NFL guys. They're not. You defensive coordinators, look at Florida State's D coordinator last night, who had a quarterback run all over their ass because they didn't have fucking contain. They didn't have fucking B and C gap contain. They didn't have any tipsy-turvy line game exchanges. They didn't have any type of option responsibility if you watch their defense last night. Meaning we call it tipsy-turvy. How do you deal with it? How do you deal with the fucking B and C gap exchange by the DN and the Mike backer? How do you deal with that in triple option? They had no fucking answer. Boston College was gashing them, and Florida State had no answer on how to defend it. And to me, that's an NFL DC who has no clue on how to stop the college game. I would stop hiring those guys. I would go younger to the guys that are defending RPO, double, and triple option. I'm just telling you that's who I would hire. Let's take a break. We'll be back with T. Rich right after this. Coach Chote is a good friend of mine at Nevada, and SMU played yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I texted a few buddies of mine on those staffs. And I'll just read you a text. I'm not going to tell you who it's from, and I'm not going to show nobody, but I'll read you a text.
Who's it from, you said?
You know who it is. So, JB, keep preaching the real, because you are 1,000% right. You cannot instill discipline anymore with these motherfucking kids. Yesterday was a fucking travesty, and I'm ashamed to be a part of it. There was a fight in the SMU Nevada game. Not one, not two, not three, but many ejections, and it was an absolute fucking joke and a mockery. And the NCAA should be ashamed of them motherfucking selves for putting 10 paid coaches, let's be real, 10 paid adults in a situation to control 170 kids. And let's say 20 paid adults, 10 on each side. 20 versus 170. And that's what it is every week now. Because you have a band of mercenaries each and every week that are about to play each other, who don't have any culture. They have no discipline that cannot be instilled. How can you instill discipline when you have new players every 30 days, every 60 days, every 90 days? How do you instill a culture? How do you instill discipline in the spring, Smitty, in the winter when the portal's open? And I motherfuck you, Smitty, because you didn't show up on time. You maybe ran by and hit the quarterback in practice. You might have jumped off sides multiple times because you're undisciplined. And when I discipline you, guess what you do, Smitty? Enter the portal. So if you enter the portal, look at this, homie. That ain't no culture, Smitty. Come on, homie. And listen, I know Smitty. Well, we've seen this forever. Yeah, but that's
forever.
Right, but that right there, Smitty, you know damn well you would have been I would have grabbed your motherfucking ass. You would have been off your team. That's even at Ball State, Smitty. Anywhere you played, Smitty.
Who are you?
That would have happened.
Who are you upset with? Are you mad at the guy who came back and defended his teammate, or are you mad at the guy that slapped the guy in the face?
No, I'm not mad at anything. I'm mad at the whole thing. Because this is what we're going to see. And
I'm looking at it on the opposite side, though. Like, sometimes, especially depending on certain parts of the game, a coach might be okay with giving a little flag away because, like, you're going to defend your teammate, too. We always come on this show. There's been multiple moments, whether it's basketball games, NFL game, whatever, where some shit happened and, like, quarterback gets hit dirty and the O-line just walks away, don't do nothing. We're like, damn, you ain't go over there and defend your quarterback? Like, to me, he see his teammate getting slapped. He went over there and put it. Now, again, obviously, don't do it. But I look at it standpoint that there might be some sort of culture there. He's trying to defend his teammate.
Nah, Smitty, come on, man. You can't defend this, dog. Come on, dog. We got to turn over a new leaf. Can't defend that shit. Listen, I do agree with you, and I agree with FA and the guys in the chat. Yeah, we know we've been fighting and shit like that. But let me just give you context from the text message that the guys that coach these guys, okay? Bailey, can you show that film again when he pushed him and then just show it till he walks over towards the player and the coach, okay? If you're really cultured up in that organization, Smitty, you know damn well you and I would have both defended our guy from getting hit. We would have pushed him, right?
Yep.
But let's be real, Smitty. Would you have been over the other guy, or would you have pushed that bitch-ass cat and then been like, shit? And then you would have been headed my way already towards the coach and the staff. You know Smitty as a motherfucking player. And you know, FA, there wouldn't have been. That right there is what the coach Thump's point was. They don't give a fuck.
Can I jump in, though? Can I jump in?
Hold on. Let me just finish. They have no regard. They have no regard for their coaches anymore, and they don't have any regard because there's no investment in this program because they're a band of mercenaries that come and borrow their locker room every semester, Smitty. That's the word.
Coaches, though.
Hey, think about that word he used, though. That's his word. They borrow our locker room. That's a cold fucking saying, isn't it? Think about that, homie. These kids are borrowing motherfuckers' locker rooms, homie. This ain't just an SMU Nevada problem, Smitty. You know damn well this is everywhere. This is a borrowing my locker room era, homie. And the NCAA should be fucking ashamed of themselves because they're creating what we're seeing out here. Bad football. And what you do when you cover up bad football is, guess what? When your girl and you are out at the bar, and there's a motherfucker out there that's talking shit, and he clowning you or your girl, and maybe he knew your girl before you and is over there whispering and blah, blah, blah. What do? You either get up and talk shit, beat his ass, or you gotta bounce. This is the same thing, homie. We are covering up for bad play or for getting clowned by scrapping. That is what you see now. You're seeing horrible discipline and culture because the play is so fucking bad because we have no fucking culture.
Yo,
right.
we are back.
Let's get this going. We got a legend in the building. We ain't seen him in a year. Our main man, a lot of the fans' favorite. I think Smitty favorite. We know why, because he was a Colt for a minute, Raider, Bama legend, running back legend, one of the greatest to ever do it. Now he's turned coach. Our main man, it is T-Rich Tuesdays, Trent Richardson. What up, dog?
What's going on,
Man,
T-Rich?
what's going on, fam? I miss y'all, man. I miss
Where
my
you
brother,
been, man?
You ain't missing. You ain't checked in on us to make sure we was alive. You ain't putting no money in my gas tank. You ain't. Where you been?
I see you
T-Rich?
having hell out there in California with the gas.
Crazy out here. How you doing, though, brother?
You know, man, it's I'm blessed, bro. Like I'm blessed, man. I've been able to, get into coaching. I never thought I really wanted to get into it. Actually, hanging around JB for a year, it gets you there, right?
How you like it, truly? How you liking it?
Man, I'll tell you what, bro. Like, I think I explained this with y'all last year when I was talking to Coach Xavier about getting into coaching. He was like, man, one thing, for me, you got to realize that, when you get to coaching, you automatically adopt all those kids. And so me, I've been having to take my personal feelings out because I got a big heart. So I want everybody to play. I want everybody to get an opportunity. And guys are working their tail off. They're listening, they're learning. But you got some guys that just, they different, and they got a different background. And so you get where they come from. You get what's going on. There's like certain stuff like, bro, y'all can't do that, especially on the scale that y'all trying to be at. And now that you're getting recruited, it's not the same. Like, we don't have the same age to mess up it from 25 to, beyond. Nah, you get man, listen, JB, I know this is the same thing
He want to laugh me because he's like, damn, JB's been right the whole time on these motherfuckers. It's all good, T-Rich. It's all good. Hey, T-Rich, I'll tell you one thing. You can't save them all. Don't try to save them all.
I've had to realize that, man, you cannot save them all, man. But it's a thing to where, like, y'all kids got so much talent and so much, I had to work for it. Like, y'all got it. Y'all just got to just work. Like, just keep polishing it up.
Are you finding out, and it's great that you're back, man. Are you finding out now that you've changed over into this realm that these kids are literally lacking self-motivation? Shit that we just never thought of lacking, like self-motivation. I can't give you self-motivation, dog. I can't motivate you to go do this and that if you're not motivated yourself. I think, because I've heard from buddies, even at the big-time Power 5 level, that's the biggest challenge nowadays with these younger cats. Are you seeing the self-motivation thing? Because we already know there's nothing worse than a waste of talent. So we already know how talented these kids are now, and if they waste their talent, it is what it is. But are you seeing the lack of self-motivation because of some external force? A video game, cell phone, TikTok? Is there something else they're invested in more than playing, and they're just playing to say they played?
Yeah, you definitely see that, man. And it could be for the girls. It can, what I mean? It's definitely something different. And yeah, man, that patch of hell in the future. I say it all the time. But one thing about it, man, like, you got some kids out here, bro, like, they just, like, they get down on themselves and, like, they don't have, I keep asking the kids, like, what's your why? Like, why are you here? Like, you just here to play ball or just be on a team? Like, and you got the talent to go to a Power 5 school. Like, what are we doing? Yep. Like, that I don't care feeling. Like, see, I think the difference between us and them, we had to make it, JB. This was our A to Z. This wasn't no A to B. This was our A to Z for us. You know what I'm saying? We had to make it. Even stuff don't turn out in football as a player, we turn to coaching. Or we turn to teaching kids to not mess up and do what we have done, right? So it's a lot of that out there, man. They be self-destructing each other, man. And
hey, you think that this was our out? This is not their out because of YouTube, IG. They're making money now on these things. As young kids, they're making money, so they're like, I make more than the head coach. Because back in the day, I was coaching high school football in the hood, making $3,200 stipend for the year, and I did that for 13 years. So, like, I couldn't imagine now doing that, and one of my best players gets an NIL deal for 6 figures, and I'm over here like, well, fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, like, how are you dealing with that shit?
Well, It was crazy, but NIL haven't hit Alabama high school yet, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the next state to do it because you got Atlanta, you got Florida right here. I mean, Georgia and Florida, you cannot because you got people transferring out to go to Georgia schools now because they getting that money. And how can you blame them, right?
That's crazy.
But it's like, man, it's crazy because the love of the game, like that was my downfall. I loved the game so much. When I got traded, it wasn't the same for me. Like it was a business, and I didn't understand that as a young man that was 21, right? I didn't understand that, and so I think it for them to get money earlier, I think it's good on that behalf to for they can know that hey, this is a business. Like if you don't perform, you don't break bread. You know what I'm saying?
Are you still there at Hoover? Are you at Hoover now?
Yeah, I'm at Hoover, man. We actually we 1-1. We shouldn't have lost last week, but it falls like it falls, and I think we needed that hit on the chin. But bro, we got a 6'6" tight end receiver slash. We got a 6'4" receiver. We got 2 6'4" receivers, bro, and I'm talking about these kids can go. And we got some running. I got the running backs running hard because I'm man. Listen, me and Coach Jackson over there. They told that thing. They
running hard, T. Rich.
Man, they told it.
I know you had a national exposed incident. You don't even got to talk about that. We don't even put you out there. But let me ask you: is part of that because coaches are being? Because I got some coaches in the chat right now. Are coaches getting burnt out by motivating players themselves rather than having the self-motivation we lack? We talked about because I hear a lot of coaches are getting burnt out, man, by. Come on, Johnny. Like, why I gotta fucking tell you to go? Like, that's the problem. Do you see it all over the place or what?
Yeah, I think coaches are getting burnt out, but I think some coaches too, man, they run away from coaching. Like don't just coach the good players. Like coach everybody.
Lazy. Yeah, lazy.
Like one thing about Nick and you too, JB, I've seen like y'all gonna coach everybody the same way. It wasn't nobody getting no different treatments. And I can remember, bro, when Lance Walker, Lance Thompson had transferred. Well, he had left to go to Tennessee with Lane, and everybody thought I was gonna flip, go somewhere else and decommit. And Coach called me like, "You go there, we're gonna whoop your ass too." You know what I'm saying? Hey, we love to have you here. You got an opportunity to play, and you got an opportunity to play as a freshman. You just got to come in and work. Julio called me, and did the same thing, said the same thing to me. But it was one of them things like, hey man, like. He don't make you. Like this dude that's recruiting you don't even coach you. You know what I'm saying? Like what's your self-motivation? Like my self-motivation for me, bro, like I had kids. Like I didn't have a choice.
Right.
Like I had a mama who raised 11 kids, only had 3 of them. Like I didn't have a choice. Like a lot of these guys don't have that. Like
I can't see it, huh? Too bright.
I can't see it.
Hey, I just texted Lance, man. You know that's my boy. So I just
Lance, my guy. Hey, that's my guy.
Hey, I can't even tell you some of the shit on air we did together, but hey, Smitty, by the way, Lance is one of the greatest college recruiters
of all time.
Everywhere. Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, you name it, South Carolina, Oklahoma State. He's like the guy that brings in the guy.
Gotcha. That's who brings in Julio. That's who brings in BJ, DJ, me, like.
Okay.
Lance is that guy. Yeah, Lance that guy.
Shout out to Lance, man. Shout out to Lance, man. And speaking of Bama, man, I kind of want to transition to your Crimson Tide, man. Look dominant in week 1, man. And I had myself and a lot of people had a lot of just questions of just how the Crimson Tide would look with obviously the Saban era being gone and bringing in Kalen DeBoer, who had a lot of success in his coach career and obviously at Washington, but you guys had a lot of transfers. There was a lot of question marks. But I feel like a lot of my questions got answered in week 1. Bama still looked like Bama to me, but I want to hear from you, man. I guess what was your overall, view of just how you guys looked in week 1?
I think we looked solid.
Okay.
But I think, man, when people, I was talking with those kids the other day, he was like, man, what you think about Bama? They scored 63-0. I'm like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, but we got to get in the SEC.
You play Western Kentucky, Smitty. Come on.
Yeah,
of course that. But of course, I expect them to win. But I'm saying, like, for example, we saw Oregon struggle. We saw Michigan struggle. We saw a lot of big time teams who's supposed to just have a blowout.
Colorado?
They
You gonna mention
struggle.
Colorado, homie? You gonna mention Colorado?
Colorado's not in the same conversation as a Bama or whatever. But sure, if you want to throw them out there, we saw them struggle, whatever. But my point is, Bama did not at all. They dominated. They did what they were supposed to do, and I didn't know if they were going to do that or not. I didn't know. New head coach, you know who Saban is, JB? Yeah, you know him. He's arguably the GOAT, the greatest. He left. I can't expect you to be exactly the same. And I'm saying in week 1, if I just woke up, if I was in a coma and I didn't know Saban left, I would have thought Saban was still there at week 1. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, T-Rich, let me ask you something.
To answer your question, he was there. I don't know how he got there because he was calling the game somewhere earlier in the day. Then all of a sudden he's at the game with Kool-Aid and all them other guys. Like he was there. Like long nigga around.
What you saying? What you saying there, Trent?
Like, he was there. You know he was there.
Hey.
They ain't going far. He was there.
Is Kalen talking to Saban on the earpiece?
Hey, it's funny. Hey, it's funny how that shit works.
Cover two.
Hey, it's funny how that shit works, T-Rich, because look, Pete Carroll's teaching classes at SC now. And they go out and beat LSU. Hey, pressure burst pipe, don't it?
Yeah, giveaway.
Hey,
giveaway.
Pete Carroll over there.
Like ain't no way you finna go out here and lose this game, boy. Not how you both prepared. You got Pete Carroll on campus, the living legend.
JB,
like,
your mic is out, JB. Your mic went out, JB. We can't hear you, JB. But that's a good point though, man. Like I know
you got Nick there, you know what I'm saying? Like you like he still got an office in the stadium. Like so like he don't even have to leave the stadium, like at the real stadium. Like he got not only, they naming the field after him. Next week, this week is the week they presented to him. So we all supposed to be coming back for that, man. So I'm excited to see the guys. Like,
can you hear me, Smitty?
Not just, yeah, we hear you now. Yeah, he excited. He excited, and we excited, man. So.
Hey, T-Rich, Pete Carroll over there talking about Christopher Columbus and fucking 1442 and shit, and motherfuckers in class, and then he picking his head out and shit, looking at goddamn. This motherfucker like, hey, all right, go ahead and fuck up if you want to.
Yeah.
He probably salty they won that game. He like, fuck.
Yeah. Hey, T-Rich, let me ask you this though. Speaking of Bama, and last year, a guy you were high on, Milroe, who's a Heisman candidate this year, he was 3 for 4 at one point in the game, 3 touchdowns. I think he threw for 350 on only 7 completions. Are they doing that to hide him? Are they hiding him in the thick of things because he's not maybe the passer they want? Or is he just the athlete that they don't need to even throw the ball? They threw the ball how many times? 10?
I think he was 7 for 9. Bailey, when you get a chance, fact check me. I think he was 7 for 9 through 200, but I think he ran for like 70-something, 80-something as well. Yeah. So total yards.
T-Rich, you didn't have to throw the ball, right? I mean, that's probably the Bama that you want to see. I mean, fuck it, run it down their pipe, run it down their throat, and then throw over the top, hit them over the top when you can. But is that something you're worried about? Like against an Ole Miss, LSU, Georgia, if they have to play them, can they drop back and throw the ball consistently, in your opinion, with him?
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. After watching Jalen at the end of the year last year and to see what he at right now, like I don't think nothing. It ain't nothing to hide. Like I don't think they had to show that much with him Saturday. Yeah. But I do think like his like he got something like it's almost like a Tebow thing, man. Tebow just had something in him that was going like come out some type of way. He was blessed, right, with a gift,
right?
And that's something that you can't take. Like the way Jalen worked, bro. I remember his freshman year, man. He came to me like, because he knew what I went through, and me and Mark being there, like, how was I able to lead? And Mark was the guy, and he won a Heisman. And so when you got a guy that's playing behind Bryce Young, learning from him, and trying to get on the field or like try to have a type of voice or a part of the game, like, and you learning from a guy like that, like, man, like. I knew that kid was gonna be incredible. I just told him, man, you gotta lead by example. Like it ain't too much of your voice. I was telling him, like, Julio wasn't a talking guy. We really never see interviews of Julio, right? Like it's very rare that you see him. But when he talk, everybody's quiet. Everybody listen. But what he showed by example, Like he will always be a legend at Bama or in an NFL, right? But what he showed his play and how much of a professional he was, like he changed the game for Bama forever. Like everybody got to be compared to Julio Jones now. And I ain't talking about just the receiver. I'm talking about everybody, like their performance. Like Julio did
The
this,
overall
and
greatness of every position. Yeah.
And coach would say this after we left, right? Julio did it, so why y'all ain't doing it? Like, let's be real. Like that guy been a guy since high school. Like his junior year was a year that we all remember in his highlight tape. Like you look at it like, dang, that's his senior. No, that's his junior year.
Hey, T-Rich, your biggest takeaways watching the game. Your biggest takeaways from this weekend, from the Georgia Tech beating Florida State to Florida State in the same week getting smacked last night by Boston College with a brand new head coach, Bill O'Brien, NFL guy, Nick Saban guy, all that. Where you at with Florida State right now? Are they your biggest shock so far, or is there another team on your radar over the first week of college football?
They're not my biggest shock. I felt like that with Florida State last year. I ain't gonna lie to you. And they proved it in that Georgia Dome. I mean, when they played Georgia, I don't care what anybody say, and they can say that, well, we wasn't playing for no championship. You weren't going. No, it's not gonna happen.
Hey Smith, hey, T-Rich, they owe Kirk Herbstreit an apology. The whole country.
They do. They do, and it ain't, like, bro, like Florida State ain't been the same, and they weren't the same before Jameis. You know what I'm saying? Jameis, they won one with Jameis, with J-Boo, and Jimbo. But Florida State ain't been the same since Peter Ward. Let's be real. Like it ain't been
Charlie Ward.
Charlie. You know what I'm saying? Like let's go back. Like when the last time Florida State has won, and they only won 3, and I think of their history, right? I think it's like 3 or 4, something like that.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, Trent,
and
real quick.
I'm from the 850. You know what I'm saying? And I love Bobby Bowden. I love Derrick Brooks from the same spot. We got the same high school coach. Emmitt Smith. I loved it. I was a Florida guy. You got to be a Florida guy, right?
Right.
So, but when you look at the history of it, man, like, and you look at what they just put out there, like, it's the same shit from the bowl game. Like, I don't want to hear it. It's the same shit from the bowl game, and then the same players that you had in the bowl game. So, what are we talking about?
Hey, I broke it down, T-Rich. The 22 year, they ended beating Florida, and then they beat out Oklahoma in the bowl game. It translates to 23. They go undefeated. That momentum, right? Last year, that momentum is getting beat 63-3. And guess what they start off this year with? Georgia Tech ass whipping, Boston College ass whipping. Because these kids nowadays are mercenaries. They're no longer culture. There's no more culture. This is the Florida State way. We're going to Nah, it's a bunch of new kids. They just got 60 new kids in the past 90 days. Like, I just don't see how it's sustainable, dog. I don't see how it's sustainable. Hey,
Trent, let me ask you this real quick, but before you keep going, JB. I know you're big on the SEC, and I feel like you have some SEC bias when it comes to just the best football. SEC went 1-3 against ranked opponents in week 1. Florida took an L to Miami. A&M took an L to Notre Dame. And then LSU lost in Vegas to USC. Question for you. Do you see a slow transition to the SEC maybe not having the as much of a leverage as being the kings of football? Like, there's probably still the top, I would assume, but do you feel like that gap has closed just because of the transfer portal and just other teams just improving?
Can I answer for T-Rich before he do?
No, I want to hear T-Rich first, and I want to hear you. I don't want your answer to shift his answer.
Because I'm white.
I got my answer. Go ahead, JB. Go ahead. I got my answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't switch it. I'm white. Let me ask you. Those are 3 shitty ass teams right now, and T-Rich gonna say that because this ain't the SEC. Florida.
LSU ain't shitty.
Billy Napier is horrible. LSU's not a very good football team.
LSU is not shitty team.
Brian Kelly is a mockery. He out here acting like a Cajun fucking
You
Jewish
just said
guy.
yesterday Brian Kelly was a good head coach. You said it yesterday.
Yeah, he's a good head coach, but he's not an SEC coach. And then you got who else did you say? LSU. Florida?
Well, we know Florida is Florida. Florida's the one team that's not that good, but A&M and fucking LSU are good teams.
A&M's not even really an SEC team. They barely been in the league. So they're not. Wait until Bama, Georgia, and Ole Miss. And these other
we say the same funky 3, not funky. We say the same 3 teams every fucking year. They top heavy.
All I'm saying is,
SEC is top heavy.
But all I'm saying is those 3 teams were expected. A&M has a brand new coach, Smitty. LSU's got Brian Kelly, and their players really don't know who he is. Is he a white Cajun? Is he a brother? They don't even know what their head coach
brother
is.
at all.
And then you got Florida, who's on a lame duck coach. So I'm just defending T. Rich right here because to his defense on this show last year, to be honest, the SEC's won how many goddamn natties besides Clemson? They win every single other year.
That's back in the days.
So I'm just saying, I'm just saying. Go ahead, T. Rich.
No, Smitty, we can't say back in the day. We just won it last year and the year before that and the year before. Like, we can't
y'all
say
top heavy. It's on the same team winning though. That's the same Georgia. Georgia's still Georgia.
That's a problem with the world if the same teams are winning. And Georgia, bro, can we get out this? Georgia has been running the SEC. They have not.
Georgia is the new Bama, T. Rich. I'm telling you that right now. I'm sorry to tell you that. Georgia is the new Bama.
He just got
beat by Bama.
Georgia is the new Bama.
But people don't realize too. Like people be talking like Georgia won 2 national championships, but they only played Bama in 1, and Bama still beat them earlier that year.
Who fault is that? Who fault is that? Get there, Bama. That's on you.
No, listen what I'm saying. They talk like Georgia beat Bama twice. They only beat them once. And we lost that game. We lost that game. We lost our best player. We lost one before that. In the Florida game. We lost him that game. Then we lost Jameson, who was balling in that game.
We all have injuries, T-Rich. You're not the guy that comes on this show and gives excuses. You are an old school guy. I know I'm not hearing no excuses from T-Rich right now.
No excuses, but can we say this? Let's be real before we say Georgia is running the SEC.
Oh, all right, let me ask you this then. Who's running it then?
Man, what are we talking about?
Right now today, they running it. All right.
Talking about.
We gonna see, I guess, JB.
What was the last team to beat Georgia? It wasn't even a year ago.
It was Michigan, right?
I gotta get it, Smith. Do I? You.
Hey, T-Rich.
We gonna see this year, I guess. We gonna find out.
Hey, T-Rich.
T-Rich,
we so happy to have you back, dog.
Hey,
I can't wait. This season gonna be fire. This season gonna be lit, man. Who you guys? How'd your baby end up?
Dog, big dog. And it's so scary now, man, because it's like, man, I don't want to tell him, but he
just that guy.
Dogging, man. Yeah, but my baby boy coming along now. And he talking mess in the house. I'm the only one undefeated type stuff.
Oh, really?
He lost the game. Yeah, he bagging it up too. He coming downhill at that linebacker position, hidden.
Ooh. Well, I can't wait to see that. T-Rich, though, before you go, I gotta say this. I know there's one team out here this season that if they see each other in the playoffs, they may give Bama some problems, and that's the U. I think the U is back. And the next guy we got coming on this show that's ready is Steve Kim, the biggest U fan right now. He got the shirt on. And how you doing, Steve?
You know, I was going to change my shirt. Then I said, all these people that complain about this shirt, go fuck yourself and eat shit. I might get buried in this shirt. In fact, every time I come on this show, I'm just going to wear this shirt. Does Arthur Fonzarelli never have the leather jacket on during happy days? I mean, you want to take away the skyhook of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? I mean, so yeah, you know what I love about this shirt? It smells great at all times. You know what it smells like? The sweet smell and aroma of victory. Ooh. You know, I kept hearing about this SEC stadium. What do they call it? The sink?
Yeah.
Anyway, about the sink. It was loud for about 2 minutes. And T-Rich, with all due respect to you, since you actually went to a school that should chant SEC, if you are the fan of a 14th best school of a conference, stop living off the top 3 schools. God, dog. Oh, my God. What are they going to do in the sink? They're going to drain the sink. What is happening? I mean,
he dropped the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. We got you. Good.
I mean, it was amazing. First 5 minutes, I said, guys, just don't give them 21 early points. Miami will systematically beat them down. And we actually, honestly, I'm a little disappointed. That's not a perfect game. This is the only one. If people say Miami's back, no, we're not. We're 1-0. We turned the page. Now it's a FAMU. And I'll say one thing about Florida A&M. Excellent band. For those people going to Hard Rock, do not leave the halftime show. Okay? They're going to do some great, like, do you ever see the movie Drumline? They are Drumline on steroids. They're going to give you a great show. Okay? But Florida fans, stop chanting SEC. You're terrible. And I kept hearing these people saying Florida's going to win. And I'll give myself credit. I kept saying we will win by at least 17. I am not happy. I saw some things on tape. This is what we do here. Mario Cristobal, he knows what it looks like. That game, we should have put up a 50 burger. We should have only given up 10. But that's okay. That's why we practice. The preseason's out of the way. And now we get to the real season.
Hey, T-Rich, was Mario there with you?
No, Mario wasn't there, man. Billy Napier was a GA though when I was at school.
And Billy deserves more time. That is a good guy. For all you
I will say that, man, Billy's a great guy.
Yes, T-Rich. He deserves at least another 5 years in Gainesville to turn that around. He will do the damn thing.
Sarcasm, T-Rich. Sarcasm.
I'm not being sarcastic.
I agree with him.
Thank you, T-Rich. Tell him.
But don't give him another 5 years. We ain't doing that. But I think.
All right, three.
No. We ain't doing another 3. You got maybe one more. But I tell you what. Some people got to realize too, though, man. And JB, you know this, and Steve, you know this. Big Smitty, you know this. Some people are better at being coordinators. Some people are better. Like everybody's not meant to be a head coach, and that's not knocking nothing on Billy Napier. And I feel like the man can go get the job done. But as we have seen so far as a head coach, he haven't put up nothing.
T-Rich, I think some guys are better off being non-P5 or now P4 coaches. And the other thing about the Florida job, to be really serious, I think to get that job, you have to have some experience at another major program. You know, like when Mario got the job at Miami, I said, you know what? He put in some real work at Oregon. And when Miami hired Manny Diaz, I said, wait a minute, Miami's going to hire a guy that was at Temple for 5 days. At certain programs that have a real history, you have better have put some time in at another program that really has some expectations, because it is different than coaching at Louisiana.
It's just not. It's not the same, man. It's not the same level. T-Rich will know that. T-Rich, you got a game this weekend? Friday?
Yeah, man. We got to go to Tuscaloosa. We got Hillcrest this weekend, man. So hopefully we go out there and smack them in their mouth, man, and do what we're supposed to do and get back to Hoover.
Good luck, T-Rich, man. Good luck.
Hey, man, we're excited to have you on every week again. You'll be on right before Steve every week, and it'll be that Tide versus the U conversation. And I can't wait, man. Good luck to you guys this weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all, man.
See you, T-Rich.
All right, T-Rich. We gotta get T to turn his phone. We gotta get T to turn his phone, and then he'll be full landscape like us.
You know, T-Rich is kind of like old school when it comes to technology and things like that. We'll get him right.
Yeah, he still has a flip phone, probably.
Yeah.
Probably on a BlackBerry.
Damn,
yeah.
BlackBerry, Steve.
I do. That was good. That's a good keyboard. I will say that.
Lance Thompson, who recruited T-Rich and Julio Jones and everybody, a good friend of mine. I just texted him. He just texted back. He's at Maryland right now, and he just told T-Rich to say what's up. But I just texted him. Hey, Steve, welcome in. I appreciate you back in the new part of this season. You are now basically the co-host with Jason Whitlock, so everybody out there knows they're changing the time. So Jason Whitlock show with Steve Kim will be on at 8 a.m. Pacific, right?
Starting next week.
Yeah. Plus the three knockdown rule with Mario Lopez. You still got that going?
Yeah, that's coming back. We took a 2-week hiatus. There really isn't much going on, and quite frankly, I think we both needed the break. But we'll be back and running starting next week. And right now we are now into football season. Had a great football palooza on Saturday. And I want to say one thing. There's a man out there on the run. We have a fugitive in our midst. 3-2-1, Noel. You said if Florida State did not beat Boston College, you would eat dog crap out of a red plastic Solo cup. Quality cups, by the way. They do those red. Yeah, they do a good job with those. Are you not a man of honor and integrity? You know, the two things a man has in life are his balls and his word. You better get that straw out, and you better eat that like a large Slurpee.
Look at that Solo cup with shit in it right there. That's unbelievable. Look at that.
He said, well.
Hey, Steve. So, Steve, is this going to be a new 30 for 30? Because you came out and said there needs to be a national manhunt.
Yes.
Now, is this confirmed? Is this confirmed or denied? Did he delete his social media contacts or all social media platforms? He has deleted. He's off the bat.
He's off. Like, I'm not just telling you, buddy. Osama bin Laden thought he could hide. He thought he could evade us.
And what happened?
We hunted him down. Oh, we're going to find you. We will find you.
So is this guy a known guy? Is he?
He's known now. So he's known. He's probably more known than Mike Norvell and DJU.
He's a no.
Look, here's the thing. So last week I'm scrolling through and I saw this tweet and I was like, that's funny. So about 20 minutes before the Boston College game, and by the way, Boston College, that's going to be a tough out. They actually have some real athletes. Shout out to Bill O'Brien. But so I just put up a tweet. I said, man, I'm watching this game just because some guy said he'd eat crap out of a red Solo cup if the Noles lost. And that thing kind of went viral. And literally, people started going to this guy's account because I think he had 1 million screenshots. And then I think by the first quarter, he disappeared like a guy that turned on the mob. And so people are trying to look for him. And look, I'm a reasonable man.
Okay.
All he has to do is take a bite or two and not even swallow, because you're going to vomit anyway, like the Family Guy.
Right.
When they all throw up. And then we're good.
So 2 bites, let it sit there for about 30 seconds, spit it out, throw up, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, Steve? That's a fair negotiation to me.
What
That's
I
fair.
do. What I do.
Don't say it. Don't say it then, right? Don't say it then if you're not.
I mean, the guy was so confident because here's the thing. He's probably thinking, oh, BC stinks. They have a bunch of tough white guys. You know what? Shout out to Roddy White. I didn't see a lot of white guys on BC. I saw some real athletes. Trayshawn Ward, Kai Robichaud. They had 2 edge rushers, number 4 and 6. Donovan Ezzie, and I don't watch the last part of the name, and Akpala. They are live and they are active, and I will give Coach B credit. He has tailored his offense to Thomas Castellanos. This is not his style of quarterback, but with that +1 run concept, they are going to be a tough out. And they have a couple. And by the way, Coach, shout out to you. Couple of white guys on the offensive line, though. Kendall and Trapio, who I think they had relatives play at BC back in the 90s. They're going to shorten the game. They're going to hit you in the mouth. And then they're going to go over the top. And again, Castellanos, kind of a budget version of Kyler Murray. Yeah. That team is a headache. And I'm just telling you what I saw last night. DJU, I don't know what they're going to do with him, Coach. That guy can overthrow the Empire State Building. Woo.
Do you see a world where middle of the season he ends up getting benched? You think it's possible?
Oh, you want to make middle?
Middle?
Florida State fans were chanting for the backup in the second quarter, Brock Glenn. And they do have a 5-star, Luke Comanhoke. I don't know if they want to redshirt him. I don't know how quickly they want to move this. But here's the thing that people, to get really serious on this, me and JB watched a lot of Pac-12 football last year, even though he didn't have Pac-12 network. Well, we ended up watching a lot. Yeah. If you watch what DJU did when he was effective at Oregon State, Darnell, they actually ran a lot of stuff right underneath center. Yeah. And they did a lot of traditional ISO, toss, pitch, sweeps with Damian Martinez. So they did a great job of managing down and distance and then getting the traditional play action. So it was a lot of favorable looks. He's not a shotgun spread. I'm going to be Jordan Travis, make magic happen. He's not that type of quarterback.
There's 2 things I got to ask you. 2 things I got to shout out to Shout out to my good friend Jeff Halfley, who left last 6 months ago as the head coach of Boston College and left.
Yeah.
And he basically like, all right, I'm done with this portal era. How much credit are you giving that man for the roster that Bill O'Brien just seems to have inherited?
None. But Bill O'Brien is not trying to run this like he's Tom Brady at quarterback. He's actually tailored this thing with a lot of RPO, read option, triple option that you talk about.
But Halfley brought in that talent, right? Halfley has a lot of good pieces there.
Right, and they looked extremely well coached yesterday. Okay, and the athleticism across the board, I was impressed. I was like, wow, they can actually run a little bit. And here's the thing that's bad for Florida State. On the opening drive, they ran kind of a wheel route. No one guarded the flat, and Trayshawn Ward flubbed it. So that's 7 points off the board. They ended the game with 3 kneel downs at the 3-yard line, which took away 7 of their rushing yards. So that's 14 extra points that really should have been on the board. Florida State rushed for 21 yards. So again, you have to help DJ with a bit of a run game while they gave up 263. You cannot win like that. And they also had an advantage of 14 minutes and 9 seconds of time of possession in quarter 1. Did Boston College. They controlled the game for 39 minutes. That was a total domination. But because of the shit eater, I was watching that game like it was the Super Bowl. I will never be into a BC Florida State game quite like that. There will be playoff games this year. I'm not going to have as much interest because no one's going to eat shit. They're just going to be disappointed. So anyway, wherever you are, 3-2-1 Noel, look over your shoulder. You may want to leave the country.
You're
a wanted man.
Let me ask you something. I made a point earlier in the show. These big time programs need to stop hiring NFL DCs that have not a clue how to defend +1 run game by the Q, triple option, double option, and RPO. Florida State was the latest victim of it by getting gashed in the triple option game. I was watching that game and I'm looking at horrible line game exchanges, B gap, 2 guys in the same gap. Quarterback bounces it, a running back bounces it. They ran triple option. They had no defense for it whatsoever. Old school, Coach Fuller at Florida State, NFL guy forever. It seems to be out of his league.
Coach, there's another issue, though. Beyond all that, their front 4 wants to rush the passer. They do not want to stop the run. And Warren Sapp says it. You have to earn the right to rush the passer, which means you got to win on 1st and 2nd down.
Yeah.
Patrick Payton is a very good edge rusher. He bends real nicely. He's not the most stout guy. Darrell Jackson is a former Miami Hurricane. When he left, I said, good riddance. He has no motor. Marvin Jones was a guy that was stuck as a 3rd-team backup at Georgia as a 5-star. He's a little bit stiff. And the other guy, Farmer, they don't want to play hard-nosed, tough, scraping, blood of your mouth. We're going to get you to 2nd and 9 and then 3rd and 7. You have to want to stop the run. It is easy to say, I'm going to come in, pin my ears back on 3rd and 9. But if you look at what happened to Georgia Tech, you look what happened last night, it's more than just scheme, Coach. I don't think that front 4 is very stout in the run game.
They're missing everything. I think they're missing everything. Here's the bottom line. This is what they're missing more than anything, in my opinion. Steve, that's Florida State's offense in a nutshell. That's Florida State's offense in a nutshell. Now, I got to ask you a question. That's something you sent me and you posted. Were they really booing Big Dave out of Florida State Stadium last night?
Well, that was a clip of the student section chanting, "We want Brock. We want Brock." And I think Dave probably beat up 50 people last night. I don't think Big Dave needs to go on social media right now, getting into, these spaces. And I think he's putting a lot of pressure on his son. Here's what Florida State needs to do. They need to find easy touches for Jalen Lucas, that little guy they got from Indiana, whether it's a bubble screen, reverses, end around, smoke screens. He's a quick little playmaker. Find him 10 touches a game to put yourself ahead of the. Also, they have a big running back named Cam Davis. I would try to ride him a little bit. Looks like he can move the pile. And if they did find somebody last night, Kenton Portier, he looks like he can be a legitimate number 1 receiver. But again, DJ's never been what I would call a precision passer. And there are times he's just pulling the string and throwing more bounce passes than Steph Curry. I think some of this is actually a little bit mental at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I at the end of I want to say it's the first half, they actually drove down the field, was in the red zone. He takes a sack, I believe, on the first down. Then he had like 2 passes. It was a corner route. Guy was
wide open.
Wide, just overthrown. There's another route. I'm like, man, like what? So I'm with you, Steve. I think it's mental at this point. There's no other way you miss throws. You start miss throws like that at the rate in which he's missing them. So,
hey, Smitty, here's the thing about Jordan Travis. I don't know if he's in that pantheon of Mount Rushmore FSU quarterback, because that's Charlie Ward, Jameis Winston, Wenke, and I don't know if you want to put in like Casey Weldon or a guy like that. They've had a lot of good ones. Chip Ferguson, Danny McManus, right? Yeah. But Jordan Travis, the way he developed last year, where he should have been in that Heisman Trophy finalist conversation before his injury, he's an all-time Florida State top 10 quarterback. He is. He's probably in the top 10. And the thing he could do, Smitty, was he could turn a bad play into a great play with his legs and his mobility. He's a real athlete, and he had good enough arm talent. DJ cannot move nearly as quick, and you see what happens when they start bringing pressures. DJ now kind of freezes a little bit.
Yeah.
And he does not have that ability to take a near sack and then turn it into 2nd and 2. That's he made Norvell look like a better play call, and Norvell's pretty good. But when you have that ability to have a quarterback that can extend 3 or 4 plays every half, it completely changes your offense.
Yeah, I agree. Let me ask you something very ironic going into the Miami-Florida game we watched here. Dan Mullins, I guess, has tweeted out something that our great producer Bailey thought was ironic. I'm going to dive into it, but he tweeted out something. What do you find? Are you looking into this deeper than it was? I thought he was a bad fire. I thought he should not have been fired, in my opinion. I thought they got rid of him too early, like Bo Pelini in Nebraska, like Frank Solich at Nebraska, like a few other guys that we've seen get let out early. What do you think about Dan Mullins' tweet and what he's saying?
I think it's funny. Look, the knock on Dan was that he got a little bit lazy, was not a grinder on the recruiting trail. And, I've heard from people that had to deal with him because Miami almost hired him twice. And his personality, like the difference between him and God is that God doesn't think he's Dan Mullen. But he's a modern offensive day coordinator. I'm going to tell you about Dan Mullen. One of these days, you ought to do a deep dive into the 2020 game against Georgia. I think it may have been the last regular season game they lost. Dan Mullen called one of the greatest games I've ever seen. What he did to Kirby Smart that day, I was amazed how off balance he had a good Georgia defense. They got down 14-0, and then they scored the next 42 points. I said, Dan Mullen just called the greatest game I've ever seen. If you give Dan Mullen enough parts, he will score 35, 40 points. Even that year when they lost to Bama in the SEC title game, they still put up nearly 50 points. They just couldn't stop them. But Dan has a way, look, he might be a difficult guy to stomach over the long haul. The guy can coach, though. People forget he had Mississippi State at number 1 for a couple of weeks in 2014 or 15.
Yeah.
The guy can coach football. I'm just telling you. And I think he felt as though, hey, I got a bit of a raw deal. And in looking back in retrospect, Coach, don't you think this is a little bit of indication for old Danny M?
Yeah. I did it. I've done it before, so I get it. I mean, it is what it is. Go ahead. Hey, you chose it. Be careful what you ask for. They're reaping that benefit or lack of right now in a bad way. I'm just telling you, that team right there is bad. They're the same exact Florida team that stepped off the field the last game last year. It's the same team, just like Colorado, same team. So listen, Steve, real quick, I got to transition before we do our top 5 and bottom 5 list because your list is unbelievable. So listen, let me ask you something. Jason Whitlock yesterday, I called him earlier this morning. I told him, you're coming on the show this week, on my show, to get this take out of the way. He made a take. I posted on Twitter, and everyone's going at us both, but his fans follow me, like vice versa. What is this take about, Bailey? Pump it up.
I saw something interesting that I really liked, actually, from LeBron James. I don't know if you saw this, Steve, but LeBron put out his Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks, and he had Brady number 1, he had Mahomes number 2, Joe Montana 3, and John Elway 4. I think he's premature in putting Patrick Mahomes number 2. I'd put him behind all 3 of those guys. But I actually like his list. I love that he included Elway in that, gave Montana his respect, but I think it's premature to put Mahomes ahead of Joe Montana and even, in my view, John Elway, who I think is the greatest quarterback of all time. I know Brady has clearly the better resume, but I think Patrick Mahomes, with a 3rd straight Super Bowl,
yes,
and a 4th Super Bowl overall, now he starts to enter into the Brady discussion, and I think he wants that.
Steve, answer that question before we cut you off. So what was your answer to that?
Well, first of all, God damn, my hair looks good. All right, now to the question. I still think Joe Montana is the best quarterback I've ever seen. Best footwork, best rhythm thrower, best touch, best accuracy. And I know he didn't have as many Super Bowls as Brady, but his ability to extend plays with his legs when he had to, I think, gives him an edge. But if Mahomes wins a 3rd straight, which no one has done since, I think, Bart Starr, and no one's done it in the Super Bowl era, Mahomes starts getting into some very, very, very high company, Coach. I know it pains you to say it, but it's the truth.
I think Andy Reid gets into that conversation.
Oh, okay. Well, look, Andy Reid wasn't doing this with Donovan McNabb, who's an excellent pro quarterback.
They didn't have
wasn't doing it with Alex Smith.
And they played in the black and blue NFC East at the time, not this shit-ass AFC West.
Look,
Like,
this is what I want to see, since they got a new track team out there with Xavier Worthy and I think Hollywood
Brown, yeah.
Yeah, who can't get off press? Who can't get off press, by the way? But go ahead.
Well, that's why he put guys in motion. But anyway, if Patrick Mahomes can start to reestablish a consistent vertical game, because they've been dink and dunk for the last 2-3 years. If you really look at what they do, a lot of shallow crosses, a lot of stuff to Kelsey. But if he can go back to attacking vertically and taking the top off the defense, and he puts up close to 5,000 yards again, and he wins an MVP again, and then he wins a Super Bowl.
Woo!
Coach, come on.
I'm not even a Chiefs fan, but if all those things happen,
yeah, I mean,
it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Smitty, it's not out of the realm of possibility. He's done it before.
So now LeBron James, who didn't even get to watch fucking Joe Montana and his life play, is now the judge of quarterbacks. Get the fuck out of here.
I didn't watch
What
Joe
are you
Montana,
talking
but I'm
about?
not stupid.
LeBron James, he's barely older than you, Smitty. He never saw Joe Montana play. Get the fuck out of here, LeBron James.
He's paying homage to him.
I don't want to hear your quarterback.
What you want him to say? Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson? Like, what you want him to say? Like, come on, JB. Like,
hey, Steve, is LeBron James his greatest presidents Kim Jong-un too? Get the fuck out of here, Chinese fucking nationalist.
Hey, stop the Asian hate. Come on, man. They're having problems up north.
He was rolling. Yeah. Damn,
having
JB.
problems. Those Norteños.
JB got it in. Got to get it out.
Steve, I got a new camera, so we're clear now, so I can say more things now because I'm clear. It's a better.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you off every time you say some bullshit.
Hey, Steve, we got a top 5, top 10. What do you? First of all, off the topic, real quick. What do you think about Trent Williams possibly reporting, and how's this roster though going to sustain?
Well, they have one more year. The window is kind of closing. It's an older team. Money's getting involved, but. I was reading Sharp Football Analysis. Warren Sharp does an excellent job breaking stuff down. There is a noticeable decline when Mount Trent is not in the game. He anchors that offense. He matters. If you want to talk about a player that is impactful, this guy deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of all-time left tackles. He makes a difference. You better, all this talk of Ayuk and all these other fancy guys, you better have the big fella anchoring your blind side. He matters. That is a key re-addition to the Niners.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we even saw last year, I think, when he missed those couple games. And I think Debo missed some games around the same time. But regardless, when Trent misses, their team is totally different.
It matters.
It's huge. Yes, it's huge. So let's do it, man. But hey, it's time to do our top 5, bottom 5. I think we should start with Steve's list first, and then we can dive into JB in ours list as well. So college football performances from week 1.
Look at that picture right there. Bailey made this graphic right here. Look at that picture up there with that snack
on. Look at Steve with the black hair.
And by the way, this is not my top 5. It's not really necessarily in order. But number 1, I got to go with Cam Ward. He led us. Still missed some early, quick progressions. We're going to have to work on that. Bad interception. But again, thumbs up, Cam. That's why we pay you all that NIL money. Number 2, Carson Beck. Now, Coach, I know you're impressed by him. He looks to be an NFL-ready quarterback, right? Right?
He does. As far as sustainability, he's athletic enough to go and use his feet to get a couple first downs that he did on Clemson's great D-line, by the way. So I saw a little glimpse of an NFL front that he would see in the NFL. So I saw that, and then I saw his delivery, his mechanics, and cerebral IQity. I like it all. So I think he's up there on my list right now.
Yeah, he's a paint by numbers guy, and I don't mean that as a pejorative. He sees guys, he reads the progression, see guy, hit guy, move on. There's a way that there's a real efficiency to the way he plays quarterback. Georgia, they're still pretty damn good. Ashton Genty, the most underrated, untalked about, great player in all of college football. He's going to make a run for 2,000 yards. He's a dark horse. I don't know if Boise State has the same buzz they had about a decade ago. This guy is going to be a legitimate NFL back. Big game against Georgia Southern. Then number 4, a guy that people scoffed at when I said he was my wide receiver 1. I get it. Some of you people don't know if a football is pumped with air or filled with feathers. I get it. Most of you are Colorado fans. But Tetro McMillan, T-Mac, this guy is, all respect to Luther Burden. Great receiver, but T-Mac's catch radius, smoother than silk, suction cups for hands. Him and Fafita are going to be an unbelievable dynamic duo in the post-Jed the Fish era.
Hey, can they break Andre Ware, David King, what's his name?
Klingler.
Can they break? You think that Arizona combo can break that?
Not sure about that. I mean, they had to play a lot because that defense was not exactly Desert Swarm for a half. But look, they're going to throw for over 4,000 yards, maybe close to 5. But I like that coach Brennan is a highly regarded guy to San Jose State. He didn't really change the offense. They're going to consistently score right around 40 points. They might be in the Big 12 title game. I really like the Wildcats. They are going to bear down. And then finally, a young man who persevered. And you know what? Fight on. It's Miller time. Moss. He's not going to do the fancy, spectacular highlight reel things out of the pocket the way Caleb Williams did, but he will play within the structure, which is even important in Lincoln Riley's offense. And he made some throws staring down the barrel of a cannon with LSU angry men coming at him, and he like Jaime Escalante. He stood and delivered. So fight on, Miller Moss. You are a serious human being. Now, we got to get to the bottom 5. Oh my God. All right. Dabo, I've tried to
wait, is this your worst or your best of the worst?
No,
no order, he said.
Okay.
This is no order, just like you guys are just all in the toilet. You guys all need to be put in a red Solo cup for 3, 2, 1, Noel to gulp. You guys are all bad. You guys are all chip. Dabo, you have become Blockbuster Video. You don't want to go to the transfer portal. I get it. But your insistence on running this offense, if you look at Cade Klubnik, he's a little bit of a disappointment. But now sitting right next to you, Coach, if you're going to play Georgia, you better take early vertical shots on first down. The way they run their offense is, let's establish the run and dink and dunk. You know what you establish with that? 3rd and 9. And you have to give your quarterback a shot, and they have done studies on this. Throwing on first down is the easiest down to do it, especially against a good defense. And when you play a team like Georgia or vintage Alabama, you have to take vertical shots because you know what you're not going to do? You're not putting together 12, 15 play drives. You better hit vertical shots. They have a couple of young freshman receivers, Wesco and TJ Moore, that are highly recruited. You better get them out there and use them. Because right now what I'm seeing is a stale, boring, vanilla offense. And Roddy White made a point. Wow, they have a lot of white guys. All right, so another team. I want to put them up. UCLA, that football program near the city of Los Angeles. That was – I know you won. We're looking at the process here. I'm Asian Nick Saban. That process, that looked terrible. I talked to one of my good friends, Hugo, went to Montebello High School, the heart of East LA, diehard UCLA fan. He said he turned that game off in the third quarter. They look like the first day of spring practice. I don't think they could have looked good in shells doing 7-on-7. And it's funny now, no talk of Eric Bieniemy being the coordinator. That offense looked, and I get it, they need a quarterback. They need everything. This is going to be a long rebuild, and I'm looking at this Big Ten schedule they have to go through. I don't know if they win 2 or 3 games.
This is college football wrapped up in a nutshell, Steve, because I'm going to be honest. There's a guy they had last year there that was really talented, and he is now sitting on the sideline at Oregon where he
Dante Moore.
He could be starting at a Power 5 UCLA. He's sitting over there, which tells me my whole argument is the investment in the actual game with the pigskin and the lines and the grass is not number one.
Well, Coach, Dante Moore should not have played last year, though, but I think there was an NIL pressure to get him out there. We saw him in his first game, and I'm like, he was okay for the first couple games. And then as soon as that early RPO got picked on by Utah, because that's what he's good at, but they sat on it, his year went downhill, and he basically had to sit him. It is what it is, but
he got vital playing time as a freshman, and he could be much better this year. You know what I mean?
Well, he's going to get his red shirt this year, and he takes over for Dylan Gabriel at Oregon, so he's in a pretty decent spot. Number 3, Brian Kelly, the Cajun. Brian, I'm going to give you some advice moving forward. Just start scheduling McNeese State in week 1. These primetime national games, not a good look for you. And stop getting pissed off at your players all the time publicly. Some of this is on you. You're the one who didn't take the early points after a good first drive. Just go up 3-0. You have 58 other minutes to play. Look, LSU is going to be okay. Nussmeier is solid. Kyron Lacey, the shooter, very good receiver. But Blake Baker's defense, it's going to take some time. And they got to get Harold Perkins around the ball. He needs to be a guy that comes towards the quarterback, not dropping into coverage. But LSU will be fine. But 0-3 last 3 years in week 1 primetime games against other name brand programs. Again, I don't hear those SEC chants. All right, so moving on. Coach, I know you're not a big fan of Drake, the White May. That UNC offense, what I saw on Thursday night, it's already basketball season at Chapel Hill. That Drake May is more missed than ever. That was almost unwatchable. What I saw of that offense with Max Johnson, got injured, hope he's okay, and they brought in this other quarterback. You might as well run the veer or the option. That's going to be a long year for Matt Brown. And then finally, my other one, 3-2-1 Noel, we've already gotten into it. You are not a man of honor and integrity. And kids, a little lesson from the Uncle Kimster. Never make a gamble that you cannot or not willing to pay off. That is the lesson in week 1 college football. There you go.
We're going to get this with Steve Kim's Gyms every single week. That was his list. We got our own list, Steve. Team-wise, Steve, before you get out of here, team-wise, what stuck out to you as far as program-wise? A couple high, a couple low.
If Drew Aller can continue this momentum with Andy Kotelnicki, I thought they were going to have to really struggle and fight with West Virginia. I liked what I saw. Look, if you look at Penn State, they would have made the 12-team playoff at least 4 or 5 times the last 6-7 years. They have to find a way to get over the hump against Ohio State and Michigan. They just don't score enough against them. They have a 1-2 punch at running back, Singleton, Katron Allen. I don't know if they have a real solid number one outside, but look, Kotelnicki can piece that together. And Aller played with more confidence in this game than I saw at any time last year. I tell you things that alarm me. Michigan has a real quarterback issue, Coach. I don't see them beating Texas at the Big House. I didn't know that guy was. How many teams win a national title and the next quarterback is a former walk-on? I like Texas big this week, guys. A little preview.
I don't understand that. And I know we got Brian Case in the chat as a diehard as it gets Michigan fan. I don't understand, where are their quarterbacks? But here's the thing I do understand. When you lose a quarterback guy as a head coach, you usually don't recover at the quarterback position. I'm just telling you right now. Especially not year one. And you got an offensive minded guy who's been under the tutelage of Harbaugh, and Coach Moore is a great guy, but I don't know if he can go get the quarterback.
Yeah. Right. Another kid that impressed me, and I'm just telling you, he must have grown up trying to just like mimic Patrick Mahomes in every way. Dylan Raiola. It is uncanny how he looks like him.
Look, just like he walks like him, talks like him. Has
the same hairstyle, kind of. He's probably going to marry a real annoying white girl just like him. I mean, it's amazing.
Jersey numbers are the same. It's crazy. I've never seen it like that before.
Hey, Steve, Thursday we're going to have to break down this Nebraska-Colorado game, and I know that'll be an interesting day on Thursday, but there's a lot to dive into this week. Thursday night's football game will be
Chiefs and Ravens. Lamar Jackson is back. Your favorite two quarterbacks, Mahomes and Lamar. Kind of funny.
What was favorite, Steve?
No, yours.
Oh, mine. No, not mine. Not mine.
Oh, by the way, Coach, another thing that was somewhat alarming. Oregon, we were watching the end of it. Oregon was scuffling against Idaho. But what I found interesting, I looked at the numbers. Oregon dominated that game. I don't see how they only scored 20-some-odd points.
I think he was 41 of 46.
Right. So I'm like, that should have been like a 52-21 victory, but that was like a one-possession game going into the last 7 minutes, Coach. I thought that was kind of peculiar.
I have to look at I looked at the box score, and I'm looking at the stat line. I'm like, how the hell was this game? We thought it was fake, Smitty. We turned the game because we said there's no way it's third quarter.
Right.
And it was, and I think Idaho scored 2 trick plays touchdowns, which is good coaching because they knew they were outmanned. But maybe football's just not very good. Like JB.
Whoa, get out of here with that! Hey, Smitty, you coming over this Saturday? Or you got
getting an invite?
He's not coming over. He don't come
over.
You
got a Tupperware party.
I'm pulling up this Saturday. Last Saturday I was busy, but this Saturday I'm free. Oh. If JB invites me right now, I will be there.
Of course, you're invited.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the boat, but you guys are invited. You guys can have the house.
Oh, get out of here.
Never mind.
Saturday, I'm gonna cook this Saturday. I didn't cook last week because the kitchen got done.
One last note before I get out of here. As advertised, Jeremiah Smith, the young freshman, broke Miami's heart on National Letter of Intent Day. He's going to be a monster. He's going to be the greatest pure physical receiver Ohio State will have ever had. He is a prodigy.
Before we leave, we talk about this middle light right here. Before we leave, let me ask you something. Hey, Smitty, he hates this middle light right here.
I'm bringing a chainsaw. You know what I hate? I'm at the 50-yard line. Great looking scene. Great screen at the JB Touchdown Cigar Bar and Lounge. And all of a sudden I sit down and there's a lamp right in front of the screen. Who the hell? We got to change the feng shui of this place.
This is a bar right here. See the JB, how clear it is now, new camera? See, this is a bar stool. So you sit here. This is the lights for the bar. It's a separate entity. It's a separate area, Smitty and Steve. So you got to sit at an angle, Smitty. You got to sit at an angle.
I hear you, but I'm with Steve on this one. I don't think that light is necessary. You have other light within that bar lounge.
It illuminates. And by the way, nobody sits at that table. That's where we say, hey, put the chips and shit there. Nobody sits there, Coach. Get the fuck out of here.
All right, Steve. I got to ask you before you leave, though. Back to the Miami.
Before you leave.
Back to the Miami, Florida game. I got to ask you something.
Ask him.
Smitty, you might want to put earmuffs on.
Okay.
Another female coaching incident, Steve.
Oh, my God.
Oh, she's not a coach.
Okay, well, she's pushing players and acting as if she's a recruiting coordinator of some sort.
She kind of is. Karen Gator is what I call
get
it.
it. I can't. I wish. See, Urban Meyer would be talking to her in another manner at the bar. But would you think he would have her there? No way. So
No.
I'm trying to figure out, why are you there, and why are you fucking with Miami players?
Well, here's what happened with Miss Karen Gator, who, by the way, she played better press coverage than their cornerbacks. But anyway, what happened was, let me explain this. That was the recruiting section. And by the way, I want to thank Florida for paying for a great recruiting visit so they see an exhibition of great football. And all of our players, because they're ambassadors for the program, they were saying, if you want to be a football team that's all up in the videos, come to the U. That away, boys. Keep recruiting. So what happened was, for some reason, they put the visiting recruits near the visiting entrance and exit. So it's not like Miami players were going over there. They were leaving the field after draining the sink. And that lady's out there acting like, I mean, like, give me a break. I mean, but again, she shouldn't have put her hands on anybody. And a couple of our, it's funny, there were actually recruits throwing up the U, by the way. There's pictures of it. So if you want to change that situation, put the recruits on the opposite side or a different part of the stadium.
Steve, kind of a no, I agree with that 100%. It's weird. It had to be a mistake. I don't know who's in charge of that. If it was her, that's a huge just error in judgment there. I want to ask you this: how well did Cormani McClain play in that game?
He didn't. He's a bust. I mean, Cormani got a great seat. Greatest seat in the house. He got to dress up, got to run out, and he look. As soon as he did that thing with Wallow, where Wallow's barking like a dog after he switched his commitment, and there was before that day, Mario and another coach went to go visit that school, and he just like left them high and blind. And I said, you know what? That's a kid that's dead to us. Good luck wherever you go. And when people thought about bringing him back to Miami, I'm going to repeat this again. Culture cannot just be a hashtag or something you paint on the weight room wall. You have to believe in it. You have to live with it, and you have to have consequences of it. And I don't know if he's ever going to play. I don't even blame Dion. Everyone blames Colorado because it's easy. Dion may have tried to be giving him tough love, and maybe he didn't want it. That's one thing I will never blame Coach Prime for is Cormani McClain, because you were not a serious human being. You never should have gone to Colorado. But people put you up for sale. Live with the concept. Cormani McClain didn't play at all. So there you have it.
Hey,
but anyway, Coach, after the show, that middle thing, just cut it off. Cut it off. Come on, bro.
I'll fold it up and we'll figure it out.
I'm gonna bring a chainsaw Saturday.
Smitty won't come anyway, so it's.
I'm going to be here this Saturday. You're cooking right though.
Yeah, I'm cooking right.
Don't ever invite me if ain't gonna be no food. That's one thing. I don't drive an hour and a half and don't get no food. That don't make sense.
And I'm just gonna say one last thing for again to Karen Gator. I understand you're desperate. You're probably gonna be out of a job with Billy soon. You're lucky you didn't try that with the guys in the 80s.
Oh
no!
Bad.
Oh,
bad. Bad. Would have been bad. But she wouldn't have been
Japanese.
She wouldn't have been
down
there.
and eat dinner
she
before they bombed Gainesville.
Well, in the 80s,
let's go.
JB.
In the 80s, she wouldn't have been there though. She is right, Smitty.
Hey Steve.
Right.
Hey Steve. By the way,
yeah.
in the 80s, she would have been with Harrison Butker cooking in the kitchen.
Woo! And with that, I'll see you guys Thursday.
Peace. Hey, my mic's going out again, this other one. I don't know why it wasn't charged. I'm going to change it up. Did you hear me?
Heard you loud and clear.
Hey, we'll take a little quick commercial break. I'm going to get my mic back right, and this camera's holding up great. And we'll be back to end the show for 45 minutes. Smitty and I, as I'm going to cook him like no other. And we're going to give our top 5 and bottom 5 list of the week. So don't miss it. And we will make sure that we play a little game. Whoever loses has to take their fucking hat off.
Let's do it. Bet good. See you in 5.
Peace.
After about 8 days or so, there is a kid who's an unsigned free agent running back because they need depth. They're still waiting for Damian Pierce to pick up the inside-outside zone scheme that the 49ers have. But I knew nothing about him coming out, JB. I don't know if you did. No, maybe Mel Kiper did, or those guys that do that deep draft stuff for the 7th round. Big undrafted running back named Bobby Dees from Slippery Rock. Do you know anything about him, Smitty, Bobby Dees?
I never heard of him.
Well, that's why, because it's Bobby Dees nuts on your forehead. That's why. Okay.
He got me!
Got his ass! Bingo. Hey.
Hey,
oh.
I threw you the lob.
Hey, I did. Hey, Smitty. Classic. I heard that last night, too. Smitty, are you there still or are you dead?
I'm there.
JB, you turned me down last night, but Smitty, crazy thing, some guy used this joke, too, last night. I mean, about that Bobby Dees, the running back from Slippery Rock, who's really not a running back, Slippery Rock. I was at the Imagine Dragons concert. Have you ever seen them Have you ever seen them in concert?
Oh,
Imagine Dragons. Either one of you?
The fuck is
Smitty,
that?
have you seen Imagine Dragons?
I've seen them before, yeah.
Yeah, Imagine Dragon. He's nuts on your forehead.
That's me. What the fuck is that? I'm not saying who the fuck is that.
Got him. Double dip. There you go.
Got him.
And by the way, I think Barry found y'all quick too, by the way.
No, he didn't find
Yeah, he did.
No way,
Other
man.
than that, we ain't got no free agent running back from Slippery Rock that none of us know. Okay?
By the way, it had to be Slippery Rock, too.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it got to be the Rock.
That was a hell of a job of the build up.
Oh, we got you. I threw him the lob.
Motherfucker said on a serious note, like it was a real like
Mixing.
Right, mixing. Okay, like, it was a.
I set up with the serious stuff.
Flashback.
Let's show a little Derek Carr. I think he's I think he's as worthless as tits on a boar hog, to be honest. That's just what I think. I think that is personally what I think about Derek Carr.
Dude, that was so funny you said that. That's so old school. My mom.
See how mean he is? That's what he was saying to high school kids, too.
Shaun, you got to try to find the one we're evaluating high school kid, dog.
He's looking, he's trying.
But JB does know, he knows football and quarterbacks, so you got to have some good luck. But he knows that's Smitty. You guys,
I gotta ask you this real quick. You're a USC legend. Another guy who people are saying is going to be generational talent. He's got drafted by Chicago Bears, who went to USC, and Caleb Williams. Give us your honest thoughts on Caleb Williams. Do you think he's going to be as great as the people are saying he is, or how do you view him?
I think we're always premature and serious. And now JB doesn't like some of the other stuff. And listen, I don't care if he paints his nails as long as he can make plays. You know, in truth, when he gets deep down to it, do you really care? Now, he's going to have to handle some as locker rooms go, as we all three know, guys giving him a hard time and not being sensitive. If you're willing to put yourself out there and have a little fun with it and be you and be an individual like that has a flair and it's going to do his things his way, you got to be able to go into a locker room and let the players still get on you, and you got to have some self-deprecation about getting, at training camp and all that. But I can tell you this. I think it's absurd that we start comparing guys like we compare too much. We're already talking about, well, he's the next Patrick Mahomes. I know we need fodder for that stuff on our show. We all do, not you guys. But comparisons are everywhere. First of all, here's what I know about it. A dynamic playmaker. Let's talk about on the field. Forget all the other stuff. Questioning, crying with his mom, or what kind of leader he is. I've heard both. I've heard coaches inside that building say he's a great leader, and I've heard people inside or outside the building say they question it. So either way, there's going to be that until we see it on Sundays. The last 2 years, there was no better performer, or at least last year, J.D. Daniels deserved the Heisman. Jaden Daniels, should I say. And we know what kind of year Penix had. But if you combine the last 2 seasons, and this is not USC homework, because JB, I'm as hard on the Trojans as I am on anybody. Just as a playmaker on a team that if they didn't score 40, they had no damn shot to even be in the friggin' game. There's been no better player in college football the last 2 years, period. You could say what you want. He's been the most dynamic football player when you combine his last 2 years in college football. Now, missing throws, leadership, Why couldn't he elevate him to it? But he doesn't make any tackles on defense. Do I think he's a hell of a player and a generational type talent? Sure. We say that every year about somebody else. Do I think the Bears are going to be in the Super Bowl in 2 years because of him? No, I think they got a little more work to do.
We are back. We are back. We here live. Make sure you haven't hit the like button yet. Make sure you do that right now. Like, subscribe. And also, by the way, man, we're going to be giving away free picks, exclusive picks all year long, man, during NFL season, college football season as well. So make sure if you haven't already, go join our slap picks at winnable.com/slap picks right now, man. We got about, I think, 130 or so members already who signed up. So I appreciate all y'all for joining. We have a free plan. We have a premium plan. The free plan, you'll be able to get one free pick just about daily. And then the premium plans, when we give you our real exclusive picks that will come from us too. Jeff Nadu will help out with that assist, etc. So make sure y'all tune in and join for that. But JB, we back. 30 so minutes left. What you drinking? 5 Hour Energy, guys. Brought to you by us. Best drink in the world. You get the extra energy that you need. Sugar-free, 230 milligrams of caffeine. It's the best drink to have to start off your day. So if you're feeling drowsy, you're feeling thirsty, you got a lot to do today, make sure you get you a 5 Hour Energy to get your day going.
Dog, these cameras are unbelievable. You see how I'm blurred out in the 5 Hour Energy?
It's amazing.
And so look how that shit works, dog.
It's kind of crazy. And then like when you lean back to JB, it's like, yeah. How you do that?
It's big money shit, dog. It's white people shit.
Damn. So you saying we got those cameras in the studio getting set up?
We do today.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
3. So I'm gonna have an ISO on me, an ISO on you, and then a wide for the full. Are you kidding me?
And like a bigger switcher for like DV Sport and the big TV, and we can write on it and all this shit. Yeah, it's better than Fox.
Somebody told me we had like a new setup too, or something like that. Like I ain't want to tell too much, but that's what I heard.
Yeah, we got some like high end desks, like and some neon lights and stuff. That's what I heard. It's better than Fox and ESPN. I heard.
That's crazy. Well, can't wait to be there. We're gonna be there next week. That's word on the street. So you gonna see.
Leah, you're fire. Shout out to Leah. Everybody else in the chat, Jazzy, all the females in the house, Lucy. I saw Chris in here. I ain't seen Chris in a year and a half. She in here. I saw who else did I see in here? Females in here.
Baby girl was in here earlier for the first time in a long time.
Baby girl in a while. Baby girl's in there. Jada, I think Jada was in there.
I ain't seen Jada at all. I ain't seen Chris in here. I saw Baby girl. I see Leah. And I think Lucy Lou was in here earlier for a hot second.
Yeah. I heard Jada though.
Gawk. That's why it's called the gawk. Because you're gawking it in the back of that throat. Gawk.
Shout out to her.
Gawk.
Shout out to her, man. Well, moving forward, amicably, it's time for our top 5 bottom 5 list right now. We heard Steve Kim's list. It's time for ours. So let's bring up just surprises, Bailey. Whoever you want to start with, just put it on the screen. We're going to react. We're going to talk it through. And we start off with mine, man. Big Smitty.
Got to.
Bottom 5. Because I'm black man. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got to start off with me. But Big Smitty's top 5, man. I'm going to start off here with number 5. Georgia Tech, they just been rolling. Obviously, upset Florida State at the beginning, the first game of the year, man. Big time win. Those guys look like they are rolling, look like they're serious business with the players out there, man. So I got to give the Georgia Tech at number 5. Number 4, I got to give to Steve Kim's Miami Hurricanes, man. It was a lot of, I would say, pressure, in my opinion, going into this game, going against your rival, going against Florida. Cam Ward's there, big time quarterback, all the transfers. It was like, okay, it was a lot of hype. Would these guys live up to it? And I thought they did that. And so I had to shout out to not only just Cam Ward, but the entire Miami Hurricanes and how they perform. Number 3, USC, man, prime time in Vegas. took down LSU, a formidable opponent, obviously SEC squad. We know USC didn't have the best season last year with Caleb Williams. So to start the season like this with Miller Moss kind of leading the pack, I thought USC just looked really good, well coached. And I got to, give Lincoln Riley his credit because, I know it was one game, but the defense looked much improved. They were out there playing physical. They were hitting. They were getting after it. 11 guys running to the ball. So I know we go on this show. We talk a lot of crap about players and coaches. But at the same time, we got to show them love when they show up, and they showed up right there in Vegas. So USC number 3. Number 2, I'm going with Alabama. Like I said earlier when T. Rich was on the show, I just thought Alabama looked like Alabama. It has nothing to do about who they're playing against. I'm looking at how are they performing, and they look physical. They ran the ball like they always have done. They played efficient. They played tough. They play hard. Again, if I had been in a coma in the last year and I had no idea that Nick Saban had retired, and I just woke up and watched that game, I would have thought Nick Saban was still coaching that team. So shout out to Kellen DeBoer for getting that team bought into the culture, even with all the guys who transferred out and transferred in. And then number 1, kind of similar reasons for Bama is Georgia. Georgia looks like the top of the mountain still, the kings of the castle. They look like the team to beat still. And I got to put them at number 1. But my bottom 5, JB, bottom 5, man. And number 5, I'm going with Michigan. I know they won the game, but, man, they did not look good. They did not look good. And being the reigning national champions, man, I would be concerned if you are a Wolverine fan. Michelle, if you're watching this, I am sorry. I apologize, but there's no way you watch that game as a Michigan fan and you're excited for what's to come as they play against higher competition, in-conference games, etc. I know Steve was mentioning Penn State and how they looked week 1 and kind of how they need to get over the hump of Michigan and Ohio State. I ain't gonna lie, man. This might be the year that Penn State does get over the hump of Michigan. So it's early, we'll see, but they did not look good in my opinion. Number 4, LSU. LSU didn't look bad. It's not about that. To me, it's the fact that this is the 3rd year in a row that Brian Kelly's been with LSU, that they've lost the opener. And the game was there for them to win. It was a couple decisions, couple bad plays, couple mistakes that to me lost the game for them. So it's not so much of like LSU looked horrible all game because they're playing against a really good team in USC. It's the point that we just keep seeing the same thing. Why are you starting off the season with L's, prime time, year in and year out? So that's why I put them on the list. Number 3, Florida State, for obvious reasons. And Florida State could have been number 1, but I'll explain why they're not. Florida State starting off 0-2 now against 2 teams that on paper we thought would be blowouts. And to me, they shouldn't even be ranked in top 25 in the country, let alone top 10. Number 2, I'm going with Oregon. And again, they won. I know the numbers look good. You guys mentioned QB went, 41 for 45 or something like that. But the game was like 1 touchdown game for a large part of the game. And for you, Oregon being as dominant as you are, bringing back a lot of talent from last season, and being a team that a lot of us put in the national championship contender conversation, I just expected a lot more. And then at number 1, I got Clemson. They just look pathetic to me. It's not about loot. You play Georgia, we get it. So I'm not expecting you to win, but I am expecting you to compete. Have some dignity, have some respect, you still got Dabo Swinney, who's an all-time college coach. And that performance for me just let me know as a neutral college football fan that the Clemson time is over. Like the history of the Trevor Lawrence, the Shaun Watson, the T. Higgins, all the Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins, the Clemson of old that we used to like really respect, that Clemson is done. Now, I'm not saying they're going to have a horrible year, win 5 games, but they're not serious contenders. Clemson's not a serious team, as Steve Kim would say. So, for me, that's my bottom 5, JB. Oregon is there at number 2 more so because of the expectations. The higher your expectations are, the bigger the fall, if that makes sense. So, that's why I had them at number 2. So,
before you bring mine up, Bailey, just bring me and Smitty and I up before you bring my list up, if you would. First of all, I have to disagree. Clemson to me isn't that high because the game was 6-0 at halftime, and their D line was dominating Georgia's O line. Clemson looked like they belonged. So I wouldn't just say they just are a joke. Now, the second half offense created the defense and allowed the defense to demoralize themselves and just give up. That's really what I saw. I think it's half-sided on that roster, and I think it's going to eventually blow up the entire roster because the offense is so bad. The defense is top tier, in my opinion, which gives Clemson a fine fighting shot in that I now think a shitty ACC. So that's just my take on that. I do have them in my top 5. I'll show you where, but let me break down some teams you will not see from me, and I want to be clear. We did our list yesterday after the show, so Boston College played last night. I did pick Boston College to win outright money line. I won money. I picked them outright. Winnable.com/slap-picks. Go get that now on our first down package. But let me tell you something. Notre Dame you will not probably see on my list because every year Notre Dame falters at the end of the year, and they just are not a serious organization to me. And number 1, I'm not going to put them on there yet. Number 2, Georgia, even though they beat the shit out of Clemson, they lost to Alabama last year. And last time I checked, I keep hearing Smitty, but they're not the defending national champ. It's a few years ago. Michigan is the defending champ, and they do not look good either. Football does not look good yet. So the teams you see from me are teams that I either A, had doubts about, i.e. in Alabama with a new coach, or B, somebody that did something they weren't supposed to do. So this is why my list will vary and be changed a little bit. Boston College, if we had that up-to-date ticker that I can just cross out a team and add a team, I'd probably add Boston College today. But we already created this list, so Boston College will not be on there. I'm just letting you know. So, Bailey, bring up my list. Let's talk about the bottom of the barrel first, real quick. Colorado. I just thought I would see more from them. So I have them at number 5. But I have them at below LSU, A&M, and Oregon. Now, people are going to ask, why don't you have Notre Dame on there as a winner, but A&M as a loser? This is why. A&M is the most wealthy, collective, oil money, facilities, Adidas. They control all things. And they look horrific at certain positions where you just can't look horrific. So even though they have a new coach, I get it. But they cannot look that bad at that powerful of a school to a team at Notre Dame that I was not very impressed with at any given situation or position. And I'm just not going to give Notre Dame that much credit because I thought A&M looked that bad. LSU, I'm going to move around in my top 5. LSU is just a mockery. I think it's an epitome of the head coach. I think it's a joke. I think half the roster is looking at them as a joke at the head coach, and I think the other half is like there for money. And I think that LSU is going to fold and blow up in front of their very eyes. Colorado, like I said, I expected more from them, especially all the stuff I hear from Matt and Bailey and everybody that their trenches are so much improved. I don't see it. I didn't see it. Oregon, a huge disappointment. And I got them ahead of Colorado, so just all you haters out there, Oregon, even though they dominated the stat line, did not finish the job right. And then Florida. Florida looked exactly like they did last year, and that is the number 1 job as a head coach. We have to make strides every single year inside that program. And I just don't see it. When you look at the salaries of these coaches and their coordinator, Smitty, all 5 of those schools right there are being paid a lot of money, not only at position coach, but coordinator and head coach. There's just no excuses for those 5 programs at this point in time, in my opinion. Going over to the top 5. USC, okay, listen. Are they better on defense or are they better than they've been on defense? That's the key. Because are they really good or is LSU really bad on offense? Is SC really better? Did they show effort? Did they track the ball? Did they get more hats to the ball, Smitty? Yeah, I do. I saw SC fly around a little bit more. I thought they were a little more passionate on defense. I thought they wanted to be out there on defense more than I've seen by a Lincoln Riley team. Maybe Lincoln Riley's addressed the fact that they are in a black and blue conference now, and he had to go get bigger in the trenches, which he looks like he did. Their O-line averages 6'6", 6'7", which is a Big Ten O-line. And I think D-line wise, SC improved. And I want to see, did they address those issues? It seems like they may have. But again, I don't believe LSU is very good. So we're going to see. I have them in there. For Texas, they did what they're supposed to do, especially after losing their All-American big-time running back before the season even started. They did what they're supposed to do. They put their foot on a person's throat and made them blow snot bubbles, which you're supposed to do, i.e. Colorado, Oregon. That's what you're supposed to do, homie.
That's true.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Don't play with your food.
Alabama. We didn't know what they were going to do under the new Kalen DeBoer situation. We didn't know what they were going to expect. They beat a team that Alabama struggled with last year for a half, Western Kentucky. I thought Alabama put their foot out there as well. So I was impressed to see that Kalen DeBoer, we've already known he's a great coach. Look at his record over the last 3 years. And he's got some doubters to address as well. I believe, because we all have egos in this game, Smitty. Coaches have egos, and I believe he's going to be like, all right, doubt me if you want, motherfuckers. Miami, I thought they came out and just out-physicaled, out-athleted, and out-coached a Florida team that just seems to be very, very bad. And Georgia Tech, a school that's an academic, rigorous school, to beat Florida State, beat Miami last year, and continue the uprise in that program is kudos to him and the head coach there. Kudos to Georgia Tech for starting the season off with a bang. I got to put him at number one. And if I were to put Boston College on here, Smitty, I would probably take SC off.
Okay. I like that. Listen, I ain't got no beef with your list. We share a lot of the same teams, honestly, just different order when I really look at the list. I think the only team that you have on either list that I didn't have on mine, I'm trying to look, is Colorado. I don't have Colorado.
A&M.
I think I didn't have A&M. I think. Yeah, I think Colorado and A&M, flip. But other than that, we share a lot of the same sentiments. So I don't have no beef with your list at all. I think it's a strong list that makes sense. Georgia Tech, at number one. Obviously, again, it's expectations is what I mentioned. So, like, from that standpoint, no one expected Georgia Tech to win other than those guys in that locker room. So for them to go out there and dominate the way they did and the way they look, you got to give them credit. So I think we're going to learn a lot in week 2, though, man. Like I said, week 1 is always weird.
Yeah. And Smitty, there's teams out there that are blue blood-esque. Like we want to call these schools blue bloods. I don't believe there's any more blue bloods, number one. Number two, but there's schools out there that we haven't discussed all week long so far. It's only Tuesday, but even over the weekend, there's Oklahoma, notoriously, ranked and up in the conversation to being a team for a playoff. Oklahoma State, who we always have looked at and said, all right, these teams can be explosive on offense. But Nebraska, who did what they were supposed to do versus another Division I school, not an FCS school. So, again, Nebraska deserves some credit. You had and you got some other schools out there that we haven't really talked about. Arizona does not look good. I don't know what Abdul Muhammad's talking about. They struggled versus New Mexico, who lost to a FCS Montana State the week before. So stop it. Again, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They have 2 guys that look good, and that's not going to win a lot of games, but they will put up points. So there's going to be a lot of teams around there. Abilene Christian should have beat Texas Tech. They lose in overtime to Texas Tech, 52-51. Texas Tech's another team that you don't know about. It's like Baylor, we got to watch. TCU came back and beat a Stanford program that we don't know about, a new head coach. Stanford looked, at least in the new era of offense, without Coach Shaw running 12 personnel all over the place. They look like they're okay. They're better. They got a big-time freakish wide out there. And the African kid, I don't want to mess his name up. He's a freak, though, over at Stanford. Yeah. You saw him last year against Colorado. Freak. Stanford played well. They had the game won. TCU came back, beat them. So, I mean, there's some games here and there, but there's some teams that we'll address as the season goes along. West Virginia, probably on suicide watch. They look fucking atrocious. Like I called it. I said Penn State will blow them out, even though McAfee pumped them up all week long and acted as if they were fucking Alabama. They not. West Virginia just don't know how to win. They haven't known how to win since Pat White and Pat McAfee were there. So I don't believe in that. I believe Penn State's too good on defense. Anytime early in the season, defense is ahead of offense, as Smitty knows. Defenses will always be ahead unless you're just so inferior to that program. But Penn State clearly is better on defense, and they're going to be in the mix of a playoff. They're going to be in the mix. As long as the quarterback, Drew Aller, can do something and not nothing, then Penn State will be in the playoff conversation. They'll probably beat Michigan this year and have a shot at beating Ohio State. Then you want to go, and I'm just going all over the country.
Yeah.
I watched Michigan State. They look fucking atrocious. Jonathan Smith era. A good friend of mine, Demetrius Martin, is a DB coach there. His brother was my DC at Indy. Michigan State looked bad. Again, though, rebuild program, gutting it, redoing it, all that. It seems like that's the new thing every year. Every year you got to go through this in this new era. There's just programs that I watch, and I'm just like, all right, Virginia Tech, huge disappointment to me. South Carolina and Virginia Tech, a lot of hype. Both programs are on the rise, uptick, blah, blah, blah. They're ascending. Didn't see it. Wasn't impressed. North Carolina, is Mac Brown now on the we're giving Dabo Swinney so much heat for sticking to his guns and not going in the portal and all this. Are we going to start giving Mac Brown heat because of his age? Is he too old for this? Is he too old for this? He lost a great coordinator. He went over to Wisconsin with Fickle. Has North Carolina ran its course on being a conversation piece in the ACC? North Carolina State, down in the game, didn't look great. Notoriously well coached by a Kansas native. I think a Blue Valley North kid is the head coach at North Carolina State. They're notorious, have great D-line play. North Carolina State struggled at that position. As the stuff that I watched, I'm like, North Carolina State may be in for it. So we don't know. But my whole point to all this that I'm rambling about is it's watered down. Like, this is what – did you not just hear my ramble? Like, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that we're not – by the way, Coach Freeman at Notre Dame, shout out to you and everything that you're doing there. You haven't won a big-time game yet, but listen, you got to loosen up the pants, homie. I can't take you serious by leading a group of men out there in spandex. I cannot do it. I mean, those pants – I get it. You're a good-looking, handsome brother. Females like you. You hit weights and shit. I get it. But your pants, homie, are so fucking tight. I just cannot watch you, dog, leading men out of a tunnel. I can't do it.
Why you folks on this man's lower half?
You can't deny. You can't do it.
I didn't see it. I didn't notice nothing. But now that you said it, now it's in my brain. So now when I watch him play, I'm looking at the man's pants.
Yeah, Bailey, you got a picture of it by any chance? Can you get a picture of it or something like that?
We'll see if we can find it. We'll see if we can find it. That wasn't part of the rundown. You look at this man's pants right now, JB. Worry about the substance and what he's putting out there on that field and how these guys are playing.
I am. Notre Dame just again. That's why I don't have him in my top 5. I don't take them serious.
Yeah, but you're letting the history though. If we're focused just on week 1, they played good. They played well. They played well for a week 1.
Hold on. Everybody out here giving me the no Diddy and all that. Listen.
I didn't say that. I don't even say that stuff no more. I'm past all that.
But didn't we talk about capri pant wearing Mike McDaniel? We talked about that on here.
And we talked about row the boat.
Be elite wearing the same ass pants. So we talked about that. No sus and all that old shit. Well, guess what? There's no difference. This motherfucker's pants were so goddamn tight, I saw his motherfucking heartbeat. Shit, through his femoral artery, motherfucker. Shit, you ain't supposed to have
artery?
You ain't supposed to be a man wearing that fucking tight-ass white pants either. The motherfucker was in white pants, too. Listen, good coach Freeman, I like you and all that shit. I liked your speech before when you got the job. But them fucking white, tight, fucking spandex yoga pants that I like watching broads wear at the gym, you don't need to be wearing them motherfuckers, homie. God damn, homie. Let's keep it 100, Smitty. That motherfucker looked like he just did squats and I told all of us about it. Like this motherfucker got a goddamn camel toe. What are you doing, homie? Why are you wearing them tight motherfucking pants, homie? Your pants are tighter than the goddamn players' pants, homie. Look at number 12's pants and look at the head coach's pants, homie. Didn't make sense. Them
Breathe, JB. Breathe. Breathe.
You breathe, Coach Freeman. You breathe. Can you breathe with them tight motherfuckers on, homie? That shit is tight as fuck. I know all the females love them motherfuckers. I sure don't. That shit is disrespectful to a man to wear that shit. I don't want to see them tight motherfucking pants out there when you walk out with a bunch of men. And I don't want to see your motherfucking man parts, homie. God damn it. What the fuck we doing?
JB said when he put the fit on that day, he had to put his pants on like this. They say he's on the end of the
homie. That motherfucker, I see that motherfucker's veins in his legs.
Oh my God.
What I do? Did I cut myself or something?
I told you to breathe.
Smitty, I see the veins in his motherfucking leg. I saw his femoral artery beaten. When you got a femoral, your femur bone is the biggest bone in our body.
Break it down.
You got a vein. So if you ever cut it or stabbed it, you die. Femoral artery.
Okay.
You got an artery that runs up here, here. That motherfucker, pull his pants up, baby. That motherfucker's thigh is beating. And look at his fucking, that's his femoral artery right there, homie.
On the right side, on that left leg right there on the side?
No, on his right leg, opposite the headphone leg.
Okay. I see it.
That's his fucking femoral artery, homie. Like, what the fuck we doing? No. Listen, ladies. I know you guys like it. Ladies, break it down. I know you like Freeman, handsome, you strapping young man. But seriously, though, are you letting your boys go play for this tight pant wearing motherfucker? I don't want my boy playing for that motherfucker. And I don't know how he led the team out wearing that shit. I would be embarrassed. And you know what? My players would be clowning me. They'd be like, Coach Davey, what the fuck you wearing? You don't wear that tight ass shit. Because I'd be in some dicky ass fucking shorts and some Cortez on, homie. But anyway, needless to say, be that as it may, shout out to Coach Freeman, doing a great job in Notre Dame.
JB the only dude that will dog you for 2 hours straight and then transition and be like, with all that being said, though, good dude. I like him. We're close. We're friends. You know, I actually was texting the other day. You know, we were talking the other day when we was on the boat, drinking and all that. But, homie, you got to stop. Like, damn. If y'all was cool, y'all not cool no more. Believe that.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Chris said he fine, though. But that don't excuse the pants.
She is still hit at the end of the day. Chris is still hit. Tight pants and all.
But be fair, Chris is an athlete. She's a coach. She knows that ain't flying in most.
True. Two things can be true. She might think that, but they ain't gonna stop her from doing her thug thizzle.
Yeah,
Chris,
but
if he approached you this weekend, he pulled up, y'all at the bar, he walked up to you real player-like with them tight-ass pants on, and he started spitting game to you. You are giving him your number. Yes or no? Don't lie. You are giving that man your number.
Ladies in the chat, smash or pass? Coach Freeman in Notre Dame.
The only one who probably would say no is baby girl, because she's like that East Coast, New York. She like gangsters as men. Other than her, everybody, Lucy would smash, Chris would smash, Jada 50-50, she probably smashed. The rest of them smashing.
Lucy said smash.
She said no fucking question. She said I don't care if motherfucker got on skirt, whatever. No question.
Here's the question I have, though. I was watching this man because you just, no Diddy or whatever you want to say, but I'm watching the players. He's coaching, right? He's coaching. He's walking out on the field, and the motherfucker got titties like a motherfucker, and then he got tight-ass pants on, and I'm sitting there like, homie, what the fuck is your fit about? I don't understand. Like, what are we doing out here, homie? But then we question the manhood of alpha males playing a game that used to be a gladiator sport, and now we wonder why. We got a guy wearing non-breathable fucking spandex leading out our men to play a gladiator sport with titties. It doesn't make sense, homie. Listen, man. You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Udoka.
Ime Udoka?
Udoka smashed all the broads in the office, front office, Boston Celtics. Got divorced. You know, he took one of my girls, Nia Long. Love Nia Long. All for this out little kid. Got kids, babies popping up all over the place. Good looking brother. Everybody likes girls like him. Same situation here. Udoka wears that tight ass shit too. He don't get no pass either. I don't get the tight pants wearing shit, homie. I just don't get it. It's supposed to be for women because women don't have balls and dicks because they don't have to. They got camel toe and you know ass crack and shit. But balls and dicks, Smitty, are supposed to be hidden and breathe. They're supposed to breathe and swing a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They're supposed to swing freely. Smitty, you cannot wear pants where your shit is that tight, homie. I mean, seriously, when did men become this way? I don't know. I'm just asking a question. I guess I'll be hated on and all that old shit.
Baby girl said when she wear tight pants, that this is what you see on her.
Hey, Mo Martin, you ain't lying, homie. That motherfucker got blue balls in them pants. That motherfucker got blue balls. His nuts hurting like a motherfucker. He got to fart, shit, and pee.
Badussi. He got Badussi.
Hey, Mo. And then the motherfucker out there, hell no today. No. How you out there, motherfucker, got your pants tight as motherfucker? I don't get it, homie. How you out there fucking singing the fight song?
Hold on. Get back up. What's the fight song? How you singing the fight song?
Hell no today. This motherfucking nut tight as hell. This motherfucker, hey. How the fuck, homie? How the fuck are you out there leading men like that? How are you leading men like that?
Bailey, this is going to be our newest commercial, Bailey. I'm telling you that right now.
And by the way, men, just so you know, this is fact. You wear tight pants like that. It's funny that a lot of D. Jones and cats are clowning about yeast infection. You will get jock itch, homie. You can get jock itch. Men, we know. Especially if you got decent sized man parts, you will get jock itch because your balls are not supposed to be tight with your shit all the way up to your goddamn belly button, homie. Like, come on now. Shit. You got to let him hang and breathe, homie. Like, you going to be, this motherfucker lets his shit out, Smitty. He get home and take them tight motherfuckers off. You know how he take off his pants? He rolls them off. That motherfucker rolls them down, homie. He has to roll his pants down, Smitty, because they're so tight. You can't take them motherfuckers off one leg at a time. You can't tell me you roll them motherfuckers off. He got to roll them motherfucking pants off, homie, and he got to roll them off. He got to roll them motherfuckers off. Hey, Smitty, he rolls his pants down, gets in the bed, and then does he just nut on his motherfucking self? Because that shit has to been tight pressure the whole way. Fuck. God damn it. I hate to see this coaches do this, man. It's these beta males that's out here. God damn it. Anyway, shout out to Coach Freeman. Love him to death.
We're gonna end it with hell yeah, hell no, because I gotta leave in 5. I gotta get to another studio from one of my other jobs.
We don't care about yours.
Hell yeah, hell no. Brought to you by Monster. Get your Monster today. Get your energy going. And we're gonna start off like this, man. Hell yeah or hell no, JB. Florida State will have a losing record this season.
They don't have a fix at quarterback. I think Coach Norvell's a good coach. He's gonna figure it out. They'll probably win 6. Might win 6. They got Memphis. They better win Memphis. I'm going to tell you right now, if they don't win against Memphis, there's going to be hell or high water. Let me ask you a question with a question. Do they fire him this year if they go 3 for 3-9 or something.
They give them the season because, like I alluded to earlier, every single year up until this point, they've gotten better. And they were undefeated last year. I don't think you can just fire somebody like that. It puts them on a hot seat, though, super hot seat. I say hell no. I think they'll be 5-7 this year. I think they'll have a losing record. Next one, hell yeah, hell no. Lamar Jackson will throw for more yards than Patrick Mahomes on Thursday's NFL opener.
Thursday's opener, I could see it because I could see Kansas City loading the box with the new Derrick Henry edition, and Lamar gets some ad-lib plays, breaks loose, gets a big play over to Zay or something like that. I could see it because Mahomes is traditionally not very big starter. He doesn't start off big. And I'm going to be honest with you, I can literally see in the Chiefs tanking games this year to preserve their stars, just like they did kind of what people think they did last year. I think that's kind of what Andy Reid actually does nowadays. I think he's the greatest coach in football right now. He's chasing Belichick and Parcells and those guys, Bill Walsh, as maybe Mount Rushmore, especially if he wins 3 in a row. So he obviously has this figured out, and I believe that he will preserve his stars. Kelsey, some guys on D, Chris Jones, Mahomes. He's got to figure out his wideouts. His wideouts are going to be the key, and I think, again, like I predicted Detroit to beat them last year, game 1. I believe the Ravens will probably win game 1 as well, and he'll preserve some of their guys. But that doesn't mean they won't be back in it again because their defense is legit, probably one of the top 2 or 3 in the league. To see how the Jets are, but I can see the Ravens and Lamar outplaying them game 1. I don't know about game 17.
I hear that. Well, answering the question specifically, I'm going to say, hell no, Lamar won't throw for more yards than Patrick Mahomes, but he'll have a better game than Patrick Mahomes, and the Ravens will win the game. So we do agree on that one.
I don't see who's Mahomes throwing to himself.
He still got Rashee Rice ain't get suspended, and Rashee is a good receiver. I know all the off the field stuff or whatever, but he ended up having the back half of the year had a good year. I know Hollywood's out, so obviously
that's crazy. That's crazy how he didn't get suspended.
I know it is kind of like nothing happened. That's what I'm saying. But he's still there. He still got Kelsey. Who else they got? They got somebody else too that I'm not thinking about that I'm missing. So go to winnable.com/slappicks SLAPPICKS. Go on there, and then you'll have. I think you should have 2 options to sign up.
Drop that link, Betty, if you can. Drop that link to everybody.
Drop that link, Betty, if you can. Thank you, Chris. Shout out to Chris, man, for always supporting from day one, even before I jumped on. If you have any other struggles, just hit me up offline, and we'll help you out. Next one, hell yeah, hell no. The 49ers will win the NFC West. Ooh, what's the tough one?
Hit you up offline.
Like on Discord or something like that. Because I'm about to hop off in like a minute. So if we don't get it figured out now, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? See a Discord member.
All right, what? What was the question?
This dude weird. Hell yeah, hell no. The 49ers will win the NFC West.
No, Rams are.
Ooh. Why do I want to agree with you a little bit?
The Rams are going to win the West.
Why do I want to agree with you? Because the Rams was shocking people last year. Yeah, they got some young dogs at that D-line.
Yeah, Rams going to be in the Super Bowl.
Puka back, Cooper healthy.
Rams going to be in the Super Bowl.
No, I don't know if the Rams. I don't know if the Rams. I guess the Rams only other team who could do it. Seahawks can't do it. Cardinals can't do it.
Rams going to win Super Bowl.
Nah. You know what? Nah. Hell yeah. Niners still going to win it. They're going to win it. They'll be 12-5. Rams will be right a game under them, 11-6.
All right. Hell yeah. Hell no. Go. Next one.
Hell yeah. Don't rush me. Hell yeah. Hell no. Billy Napier will be fired after this season.
I'm going to predict that I think he's fired before the season.
Ooh, you kidding me?
No, because they have the hardest schedule in the last 20 years on paper. He'll be fired before the season. I almost want to bet it on winnable, big odds. He'll be fired during this season. I would say if I have any prediction all year long besides Daniel Jones having a good year, I say that Billy Napier is fired by week 6.
Ooh, man, that's a hot take right there. I'm going to say hell yeah. He's going to be fired. I don't know if it's going to be during this season, after the season, but he gonna be fired. This is it for him. Last but not least, hell yeah, hell no. USC will play for the Big Ten title game.
No, I'm gonna say hell no. I gotta see them. I want to see them play in these other environments. I want to see them have the mental fortitude and tough skin to go into an environment and get pounded by a Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State in a game where some team can run the ball 30 times.
Cold weather.
I got to see that before I can just say you just can't transition and think it's all hunky dory. I got to see it first. I don't think so.
That's a great question, though, man. I like that question because, I mean, again, we're just based off of week one. So the only evidence we have is 1 week. So, like, as of right now, you could see that. But to JB's point, yeah, I got to see that West Coast team playing in November and October when it's colder. You're going against a heavy run team, and they're running power and ISO. I need to see.
Remember, people are forgetting. Put Jaden Daniels in that game Sunday. LSU wins by 3 touchdowns. Let's not get it twisted. SC's not that goddamn good. Put Jaden Daniels on that same LSU team.
You're not that guy. You're not that guy.
Sunday night, Jaden Daniels is on that team, and LSU beats SC by 3 touchdowns. Don't get it twisted. That's the difference. Let's just be honest. That's not a hell of a SC team. Let's just be real. They're missing a quarterback, and that was it. If you put that guy there, that game's a different ball game. So I'm just saying.
And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first year that the Big Ten championship will consist of just the 2 best teams, right? Like, it's not so much of like the best team in this division versus the best team in that division. You know, Iowa will go every year against, Ohio State and never get blown out. I don't think they're doing that this year. I think it's more so the top 2 teams in totality in the Big Ten. So it could be Oregon, Ohio State, it could be whoever. So I'm gonna say hell no.
Listen, I root for SC as an LA guy, and I root for UCLA. I'm a UCLA guy growing up there. Growing up, being born there and everything. I root for SC. I think SC, Michigan, Texas, Florida State, Miami, Nebraska. I think that's good for college football and the college landscape to be good. That's just what that's my opinion. I think blue bloods are good for football. It makes and aspires other programs to be like these guys. Right now, there's no aspiring. Either it's Georgia for 2 in a row, or Clemson that went to 3 out of 5, or Alabama forever. There's no aspiring, though. Now you got Michigan, who won 1, and looks like they're down. They don't even have a quarterback. And we don't know what Ohio State has at quarterback with Will Howard. I got to see who we're aspiring to be. And I don't see it anymore. That's why it's watered down, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying. I miss the Blue Bloods. I hope SC's good again. I hope Florida State. Not this year, but you see what I'm saying? It's like this, homie. There's no more consistent powerhouses because of the watered down portal and bag chasing. It is what it is. I think I get out of here. Great show. We are back tomorrow for Work Boot Wednesday, and we got Noel Mazzoni, Josh Booty. By the way, LSU legend. The Booty family, General Booty's uncle, who General Booty's now left Oklahoma and starting over at, I believe, Western Illinois or somewhere like that. But we'll be having that. We're going to have some real coachable moments tomorrow, and we're going to break down these quarterbacks. And shout out to Bailey. We're running the 1s and 2s back there. He's at UL Monroe. I'm sorry, General Booty. And shout out to you guys. Go on over to 0 to 60 pod with Matt McChesney and Bailey daily after this. And this Sunday, just heads up, Shaun Salisbury, myself, and Jeff Nadu will have the realest NFL pregame show on Planet ERF right here on this channel every Sunday morning. So make sure you tie into that. We'll be at the studio later setting up, and I'll do all the work again. I'll carry this thing. That's why my back hurts. And Smitty will be doing whatever, driving, doing TikTok video. Why is traffic so shitty in LA and all that old shit? But listen,
you are a hater because I'm popping. You hate it because I'm popping right now.
That just proves to you how soft we are as a society.
Hey, and I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to maximize it.
Smitty will do a video today about, how to fucking open your car door, and he'll get 1 million views. And then I'll do a real talk, fucking real shit video. It'll get 100 views.
I'm a cold hustler.
That's the name of the society.
Listen, I couldn't tell you shit about an atom, a fucking sale. But I'm a cold hustler, JB, and I know how to maximize in this era.
Hey, to end the show, how you feeling about your Democratic Party right now?
All right, then, y'all, man. Y'all have a great day. Great.
Hey, no.
I'm
Hold
about to go to the
on.
studio.
Hey,
I'm about to be late. I gotta go to my next job. I'm gonna house out later.
Hey, it's a real topic. You know why? Y'all denied reparations for y'all, homie. What's cracking? Why'd y'all deny the brothers reparations, Democrats? But y'all okayed $150,000 for illegals? What? Hey, Smitty, you gotta go Republican, homie.
Do your research. Do your research. Do your research. Do your research.
Peace.
Issues get pressed so fast it don't get sacked like bags and baggage. Smitty and Jason Brown kill the ass around.